Dude, and just like that, we're live. So
there we are. There you go.
Yeah, I just like to ambush guys and get the show going. Because you were just telling a bunch of cool stories, and I was like, dude.
I got 1,000 of them. Don't worry. Got plenty of stories.
I just want to say, I appreciate you taking the time to do this, man.
Dude, thanks.
I know.
It's great. We're finally linked up. We've been talking for a little bit.
Yeah.
And to get here and just guys hanging out, sitting down, just having real talk about real things. And, I've been following you for a while. I've always loved your story, loved your stuff. And, I'm glad they got us linked up together. And then, hey.
Yeah, rocking the shirt.
Dude. The shirt is very appreciative. It's no one's coming to save you. And that's a big thing I use in my survival classes now. And I tell them, look, no, you have to save yourself. You can't rely on others in this time of so much uncertainty in the world.
Yeah.
You see what's going on. You look at the news, you just want to throw up. Things are really bad. And we were just talking about it. Yesterday was my birthday. And I'm just going to get my birthday coffee at the Star Blas. And here I am, just minding my own business, trying to move around the car. And they're just being inconsiderate. All I have to do is move 3 feet to the left and people can get by them. But no, whatever their little foo-foo drink was more important than, in the spirit of giving. And the guy wants to get in a freaking argument with me. And it's like, dude, I'm 6'3", 250 some odd pounds. I've got you by at least 125 pounds. Let's not do this,
But what's nuts, dude, is like you were always one altercation away from having your life forever changed.
Correct.
And for it's sure. Like, I think about this shit a lot because all it's going to take is one little altercation like that. Or like I told you, I had a similar one in the hotel lobby. And it's like, fuck, man, I'm just trying to live my life and do my shit.
Exactly.
But sooner or later, something's going to give, man.
Yeah.
And more people in our society, I think, are of the mindset like, oh, no one's ever going to do anything to me. So everyone's dicks to each other. Everyone's giving each other bad energy.
It's the social media.
It is.
I got a fake name, a faceless avatar, or a puppy or something, and I can say whatever I want. Well, it works in society too. And it's like, dude, you're going to find yourself in someone more ornery than you. That's, hey, I'm gray. I'm old. I was in a profession where men die young, and there's a reason I'm old. Uh-huh. Don't mess with me. I'm just saying. And I looked at this dude, and I'm like, man, I just need to move on. And we had some choice words, and it was clear he was whatever. His girlfriend was in the vehicle driving or whatever. And I'm just like, I'm rolling out of here. It's my birthday. I'm going to go back on with my day. Let this go. I went the whole opposite direction. I was going against the arrows. People are getting out of my way. I got this massive truck. They're like, oh, get out of the way, guys. Got a zombie crusher on the front. I'm just getting out of his way. He doesn't look happy. I just saw him yelling at somebody. Okay. So, I let it go. And like you said, it could have ended stupid.
I know, man.
He didn't want to spend the rest of the day in the hospital, and I didn't want to go to jail. So,
So, bro, like I told you when we were talking before we were doing this, it's always kind of weird to sit down with guys. I've been fucking watching you for years. And it's like, I already know EJ, but EJ doesn't know me yet,
Right.
So it's always cool to have a conversation because it's like, I already feel like we're homies.
Yeah,
even though we just shook hands for the first time 10 minutes ago.
True.
But, and getting into all the naked and afraid stuff, I think will be fun just because that's been a show that's captivated me for, what's it been on now? 15 years or something?
Going on 11 years.
11 years? Okay.
The first pilot episode, which I filmed, that was part of the pilot. Kelly and I went out to Tanzania, Africa. We filmed 21 days. I was brought in to consult on it.
Oh, you were the first one.
Very first one ever do it.
So how did that even come about?
Well, long story short, while I was in the Army in Hawaii, on the back end, I was, figuring out what am I going to do when I retire? And always as a young guy growing up, I was into drama, into sports, fighting. So I'm like, I want to be an actor and a stuntman. Maybe I can do tech advising. So I was starting to dabble in that. So I was on a TV show, Lost. I did a few movies, a lot of independent films over in Hawaii. And I was a big fan of Survivor. So as I left Hawaii, I was applying for Survivor. I probably applied 14, 15 times. So in 2010, I got a call. And they're like, hey, EJ, you were a finalist once before. We want to relook at you. We got this season over 40, under 30 season to Nicaragua. So I brought me out to L.A. I made the cast. I'm thinking, this is great. I'm finally going to go to Survivor. And about a week later, they call me up and say, hey, we're going to replace you. The coach, Jimmy Johnson, just passed his medicals. He's been trying for 2 years. He's good. We're putting him in instead of you. And I'm like, but I'm a Giants fan. He's a Cowboys coach. You can't do that to me. And they're like, well, I get it. And those casting directors talk. And so my name was floating around. I did a few other different shows. Got called up by Discovery in 2012 to go out and try out for Dual Survival. They were replacing one of the original hosts, Dave Canterbury. So they were looking for a military guy to come in and take that host job.
Okay.
And I was the last minute. They needed to test 5. They only had 4. So I was the last guy they brought in. Wasn't even supposed to do well, I guess, by their eyes. I went in there and I was in the final contention between another guy. Discovery fell in love with Joe Tedai's, resume, and whether we can argue all day long whether it's exaggerated or whatever, he's paid his dues on that end. I knew Joe from another TV show we did together, so that wasn't my beef. But the production wanted me because of my survival skills were completely legit, and Discovery chose Joe. Okay, they say EJ will call you. So I'm getting done with another show called 72 Hours that was on TNT. It was an adventure survival race. Looking for $100,000 in Fijian jungle. You meet your partners on the starting line. 2 couch potatoes that should have never left their house. I'm dragging them through the Fijian jungle trying to find this money suitcase. And needless to say, we never found it because I had 2 anchors with me, but that's okay. At the end of that, I got called from Discovery and said, hey, we got this really extreme survival show. We think you're perfect for it. We want you to come help us build it, consult on it, and then we're thinking we're going to put you in. So I'm out there trying to survive 21 days with a strange woman I don't know. 2 items, buck naked in Africa. Never been to Africa before.
What were the 2 items you guys brought?
It was given a knife and a pot. She had a very tiny pot at that, which she said she had a bigger one. And for whatever reason, they picked this smaller one, and it didn't even have a top on it. So as we're boiling water, it's going up into the atmosphere. Very hard to rehydrate after 5 days of very little water. But what normally happens is you bring 4 items each. They sit down with the local guide. It was at this place, it was a Maasai tribesman and some park rangers from the ranger park. We were in the Darkwai. It was a 11,000-acre game reserve. And they figured out what 2 items would help these people survive the best. Okay. So in those days, it was a little tougher. You got to solve the problem. Okay, I got a pot for water. I've got a knife. I got to make fire. Or they would give you a fire starter and a knife. You got to figure out water. As later seasons went on, skill sets were not as top-notch, but not bad. They started giving extra items. You're going to Africa, you're standard now, you're going to get a pot, just so it's evolved over time. It's still hard enough, Oh,
yeah, bro, I'm sure. Yeah.
So we're sitting the first night, we're sitting in the shelter, and I'm trying to get to know my partner. We built this cage because we hear lions going on. So it's not a real shelter, it's just a cage. Just to keep the lions, they show up. I got this pointy stick, the best one I could find. And I look at Kelly and I'm like, okay, when's the last time you cycled? She's like, what? Cycled. When's the last time you cycled? She's like, well, what do you mean? Menstruated?
When's your period start?
Yeah. When's your period start? I'm cycling now. I'm on my period now. I'm like, oh, that's wonderful. Yeah. Great.
We have apex predators circling us.
So that was our first night. And then the next day we marched 5 miles to get to this water hole on a crappy map. I mean, it was very funny because we're trying to build the show, and I get this map that looks like it's written by a kindergartner.
Yeah, with a crayon.
Yeah, I'm like, who did this?
To this day, I get a kick out of the Naked and Afraid maps because we're used to MGRS. Everything's like dialed in. Yeah. And it's like,
where's my hand
map? There's a big picture of a lion and a snake on it, and it's like
that. And that was the funny thing. We saw the tree. We were under this huge grandmother acacia tree, and that was on the map. And there were some mountains, and there was these 5 like squares. And I looked at Steve, and I'm like, okay, all right, see this. So where we're supposed to be on 21 days? He's like, that mountain right there you go on the map. There's an X. That's your extraction. You got to be there with the fire, and the helicopter's coming. Well, there's no X on the map. And he grabs it and he gets his Sharpie out and he, right there, mate, 21 days, it's right there. And I'm like, okay. So where are you going? I'm like, and I looked at the map and I went to Kelly. I'm like, look at these 5 things here. They're either stones and they're going to be our gravestones and they're tombstones, or it's going to be water. And so that's where we're going. And that's where we went. And it turned out to be water. And it was very difficult. And for me, understood primitive stuff. I was a SEER guy.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask, because you mentioned being a SEER. You worked as cadre for SEER school?
Yeah. When I got out of the Army for 4 years, I was a contract SEER instructor, worked in the Camp Slappy, for all of you out there that know Camp Slappy. I'm cracking off.
So is that where you learned the majority of your survival skills, would you say?
I've been an outdoorsman since I was probably 5 years old. You know, camping, hunting, always outdoors, doing outdoor stuff. When I went to Ranger school in '88, and the Ranger handbook was survival sections. And that's what I used to read to try to keep myself awake so I wouldn't get a major spot report from one of the RIs. And I found it fascinating. So I started trying to apply it when I got out. And then fast forward, I became a ranger instructor in the swamps of Florida. I was down there for 3 years, and they made me the primary survival and tracking instructor. So they sent me to tracking school. Then I went to SEER school.
What year did you leave Eglin?
Let's see, 96.
Okay.
At the end of 96.
I went through my last day in Eglin was 9/11.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So you know how you rig up, you get your parachutes on, and you jump back into Benning, and they said, hey, everyone de-rig. Put your chutes over there. We have something to talk about. So I was wondering if we crossed paths or not, but you were a little before my time.
Yeah, a little before. And so I fell in love with survival at that point. So I started teaching on the side, anybody that would want to learn, friends, whoever, and started honing my skills because we had Y2K coming. And I just wanted to be the best survivalist on the planet to survive bad days, take care of those around me, my loved ones. And I just wanted to be that good.
That's pretty cool, man, because a lot of people have this misconception that the military, like, oh, you were in 2nd Ranger Battalion? You must know how to start fires with bow drills and harvest rabbits and stuff. I'm like, dude, we don't learn any of that shit.
We just keep, like, I went through this, SEER program. You learn some stuff, unless it's on you to keep that stuff up. So I'm like, man, I got gear. I'm not rubbing sticks together. If you go out of the house without a lighter in this pocket and a lighter in that pocket and a magnesium fire starter in the back pocket, you're an idiot. It's like fire's fickle, and it's always difficult. But that first challenge humbled me so bad, I realized that I let my skills get rusty. As soon as I got out of Africa and got back, and the show says I lost 33 pounds. I left here. I put weight on. I went in at 260. When I got home after eating 3 days, just stuff in my face, I was 205. So I probably...
You'd already put on 20 pounds, I bet.
So I probably lost well over 60 pounds. But, they didn't have any scales out there, which I thought was odd. We're on a show where you're going to lose weight. And they're like, how much do you think you lost? I'm like, oh, I look pretty skinny, right?
Bro, you're doing the pilot. Like that.
It's like, well, I didn't think of scales. I'm like, well, I'm a military guy. Sorry. And, but I realized, like, once I had a few cheeseburgers, like a week later, I was back at the SEER school as my contract job. At lunch, I was with my good friend Jason Smith. It was Jason, right? Hobo Knives. Hobo Forge Knives. Yeah, maybe it's Justin. Sorry, Jason. But my buddy, I went back and found him because he was the best guy I knew at Primitive. Him and we had a sergeant major out there too that was very good. But Sergeant Major Smith. So the two Smiths. So I'm out there with these guys at lunch. Hey, reteach me primitive fire. Reteach me all this stuff so I can be good because I was short. And I don't want that to happen again. It didn't feel good. And little did I know, 7 months later, I'm heading to the Amazon because I got 3 people quit. The guy calls me up. He's like, I'm losing money down there. The 3 people quit. All the locals say nobody can do this. Not in the Amazon. Not naked. And I'm like, I can do that.
Fuck.
Hold my beer. And he's like, oh, okay. And he's like,
was this another 2-person challenge?
Yeah, another 2-person challenge. I was the first one to do it twice then. I went in with Laura Zera, who also did the first season.
She's a stud.
Best female survivalist on the planet.
Okay.
I mean, I've been around some good ones. Nothing against Kat and some of these others, but Laura absolutely lives that life and is really that good. And I was so pleased to come around the corner and see little Laura standing there. And I'm like, oh, this is going to be a great run. And I remember seeing the guy, the survival local guy, JC, he comes off his boat. I'm isolated in this little Amazon lodge with a family that's feeding me until the tours came in. Then I realized we got a buffet line going here and I'm trying to fatten up for this challenge. And I'm trying to be courteous and they're all college kids and whatever, and they're just stuffing their plates. And I get to my turn and I'm like, ain't much left here. So after that, I'm first one in line now because I'm about to do something. But this guy pulls up and he's like, hey, EJ. I'm like, ah, I'm yelling, get over here. I got some beers up here. Let's go. And he's like, oh, I like your energy. You got good strength. I give you 10 days. I'm like, 10 days for what? Oh, you'll be out of here like the others within 10 days. I'm like, oh, really? I bet you 2 cases of Cravesas that we'll sit here and drink them together that I will be here on day 21. You don't bet against EJ Snyder. And sure enough, you know, very difficult. Bugs.
That's what I was going to say, man. Like, as a fan, obviously, I can't even really conceptualize what that would feel like out there. You know, I've done a lot of hard shit in my life, but sleeping in the fucking swarms of mosquitoes.
Yeah, that would kill me, bro.
Doesn't that
seem like... demolish me. You couldn't do anything about it. Yeah. They're too small.
And like every episode where they're somewhere tropical and the swarms of bugs come in and they're like, oh, the girl's like, they're in my vagina. It's just like, oh, what the fuck, man. But
we got blown out of the shelter. And I said, Laura, we went down by the water, right by the little tributary we were on. I'm like, we were more comfortable sitting there than up by our shelter because they just came in our shelter and took it over. And it's like,
Wait, what about fire? Because it's so damp there. Was it difficult?
No, we could get it because I had a great fire starter. I brought a Pure Fire tactical fire starter that literally starts in water. You put the magnesium on a glass of water, it'll light in the water. It's that good. But we found that the fire was like bringing them in. It was the weirdest thing.
Because you would think the opposite.
Yeah, smoky fire, whatever. They're coming in.
The light was bringing them in.
Yeah, the heat. And they were like all over us. I mean, we put mud, clay on, everything we knew about mosquito defense was not working.
Like Arnold and Predator.
Yeah. And I'm just like, this is not working. Everything I do, you lied to me. These mosquitoes are different. And we would just then, from that point on, we'd build a shelter. At night, we could hear them starting to, like helicopters. I was like, oh, my God, they're coming. You get PTSD. You're like, oh, they're coming. Oh. And 20 minutes later, they would show up. We would be 300 meters away from our shelter. We had a lay spot where we would just sit there and just weather it. And based on the moon cycle, they'd either come out for about a half hour up to 4 hours. And we would sit there and recite, all right, we're going to dinner. Where are we going? We'd say where we're going. All right, what do you have for appetizer? Wait, drinks first. And we'd go through these menu lists.
Just a mental game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we would go through it. When you went through that list 4 or 5 times, it was a bad night. It was a bad night. And I would do the mosquito dance, and we would zombie walk. I had cleared like 100 yards so we could circle like a cigar shape.
Because I guess if you're moving, you're a little bit of a tougher target.
Yeah, tougher target. When you're sitting still, they're on you. If you're moving, it's a little better. But I had to make sure we didn't have fertile ants down there, or whatever. So I cleared a path, and we would just walk that thing and doing the zombie walk. And then when it was over, we'd go back to our shelter. We built our shelter. I was trying to get 10 or 12 feet up, like a tree house.
Okay,
and it was a bomber shelter. It was really good, but because that's the mosquito plane. If you can get above 8 to 10 feet.
Oh, really?
They're not up there.
Okay.
Not a lot of them.
Yeah.
So we had our beds up there, so there was less of them. You get onesies and twosie. And I'm sleeping one eye open anyway. And poor Laura was so destroyed by the chicheros from her first challenge in Panama.
What are the chicheros?
They're like some kind of a...
Like a flea?
Like a flea, yeah. Okay. It's like a sand flea or something down there in the sand where they were on an island beach in Panama. And she was just tore up from it. And she would start going, like, shaking from the bugs by there.
Literal PTSD.
Yeah, shaking, just like not convulsions, but just she'd react to it in that way. And I used to have to try to calm her to get her to just sleep because she needed her rest, and that was just destroying her. And so we also had a jaguar stalking us. So I was up one eye open all night. Give me a couple hours
I've always wondered, the production, do they provide any kind of security?
No. In more recent years, when they've been in Africa, some of the places where they're in Africa, by law, it's required.
Okay.
So they've got some rangers on the outside. But when I was in Africa, we had one ranger up on the ridge line, about 800 meters to 1,000 meters away,
so he'll
above us, with a nurse in a Land Rover. And he come down one day and says, hey, so you here to keep us protected from the animals? And he's like, huh? I'm like, yeah, we got hyenas coming in every night. I'm over here throwing rocks at them, man. It'd be nice if you came down and shot one. Maybe they wouldn't come around anymore. He's like, no, I'm here. Poacher. Poacher come, I shoot poacher. Animals?
He's like, you're on your own. Huh?
Yeah.
Damn,
and
dude.
I was like, "Ooh, that's okay."
Because there's so many episodes where it's like you got fucking buffaloes trampling around people's camps and hippos and crocodiles. I'm like, dude, it's just it's a percentage game.
Yeah.
Sooner or later,
it is
right?
a TV show, but on the flip side, I pride myself in being a very authentic, real outdoorsman and survivalist, and I understand wildlife behavior. So maybe when I'm out there, there's a different. I'm not saying they're doing favors for me or whatever, but I understand what we got to do, how to avoid that.
Yeah.
And last night, me and Kelly were out in Africa, waiting to go to the top, 1,500 meter climb to the top of this small mountain to extract out of there. We had this dead log there, and Cape buffaloes were moving through, and we had to roll up underneath that log just so we weren't to get. And we had a fire going, and just didn't want to get crushed by those guys, and it was thunderous and pretty scary for about 10 minutes while they were moving through.
Dude, I bet, man.
And I was like, wow, that was intense because you could feel the ground. Just shaking.
I think you were bullshitting us with the eel.
What?
When the eel zapped you?
No, that's real, man. Yeah.
Did you see that?
Yeah. No, I enjoyed that season, and that was what, a 60-day or a 40-day challenge?
That was the first 40-day challenge in Colombia. So that was my third challenge. Me and Laura were both there. We're the first two to do it 3 times. In the first Amazon I was in, I killed the first time largest thing ever killed in either of the 2 seasons, which was a original 6-foot electric eel.
Okay.
So we found it in a little pond. It was kind of hibernating. And either I killed it clean on my first shot right through the spine, or it was just hibernating and it didn't shock me because I didn't get the shock.
Yeah.
Well, his brother, Mr. Eel's brother, got back at me the second time because I got zapped 7 times and that hurt. That was like getting kicked in the gonads, man.
And that was the first season where they had
40 days, 6 men, 6 women.
A tribe of people, right?
Tribes. Yep.
Okay.
And I started out in the alpha male tribe with three guys, myself, Jeff Zouch, who's the big game hunter.
Yeah.
And then here in our town, we have Hakeem Isler. He's a modern day ninja, former soldier. He was out there with us too.
Okay.
And he didn't make it the first week. He had just came out of doing a martial arts tournament. So he was super lean. Just that heat just got to him.
Yeah.
He was getting all locked up. He was on, was very lean. He was on a lot of supplements. And so, that stuff's not kind to you when you're out there in the wild.
Yeah. Yeah. That's when you and Jeff, what was your team called again?
With alpha males.
Alpha males.
Yeah.
Fucking killing stuff and screaming and celebrating, being wild animals out there.
And then we had the other camp, Camp Chill, bush camp, but great survivalists, great people, just had a different approach to.
Yeah.
You saw 2 different methods. Neither one's more right than the other. It's just like, I'm out here, I'm getting after it,
Are you still homies with Jeff to this day?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, he's like my little brother because he's quite a bit younger than I. And I ironically had a kid brother named Jeff who passed away way too early in this world before his 22nd birthday. But ironically, he was the best fisherman I knew in my life. And then here comes Jeff, who took up that mantle as best fisherman I knew now.
Yeah.
And so there's things that Jeff does. It's like, why are you doing that now? And he's really, when the camera lights get on him, he gets a little, more amped up than he is, but he's his own person and he does his own way. And Jeff's not everybody's cup of tea these days, but, when you love somebody and you bond it with somebody through the experiences we go through, whether it's war, and some of the things like me and Chad, we've been brothers for a long time. And for everybody, this is Chad. Chad is the owner and founder of Cracking Skulls, which is, I'll let him talk about that a little later and what we do here. But we became real good friends here locally. We do a lot for the community. And so I'm never going to turn my back on this guy because he's my brother. We support each other in everything we do. I'm out of town a lot, but when I'm in town, I always try to come see Chad. I know this is my little home here. We got our little family at the Cracking Skulls compound. But, I bonded with guys like Jeff, guys like Shane. Shane from the first season, he was the last guy I thought I'd talk to.
Yeah.
And we became best buds for ever since. Once we finally had a conversation and buried that animosity to each other and understood where each other are coming from, we've been friends a long time.
Well, and that's what was kind of weird about this last season is it was a competition amongst each other.
Yeah.
And,
last one standing. Yeah.
And Jeff caught a lot of flack for that because he's like, dude, if this is going to be a game, I'm going to play it like a game and I'm going to try and win.
Yeah.
Whereas typically Naked and Afraid is like, how do we come together and support each other? And
it's about perception, really.
I'm assuming you're friends with Stephen Lee Hall Jr. too.
Oh yeah, Stephen. Yeah, I mean, Steve and I were partners. We were in the Legends in the Swamps together. We went out and adventured a little bit.
Because on that last season, like he was tearing up, and he's like, "Man, Jeff was like my literal brother. Now we're competing against each other, and it just doesn't feel good."
For Stephen, that's who Stephen is, and family's important to him. And that just was hard for him. I know that was so hard for him to understand and deal with because he's very about peace and love and being together. And I've done some charity events with him outside of this challenge. We've gone to In-N-Out Burger and ran something together. And I would do anything with that kid.
He seems really cool.
When we met up in the Amazon when they got in trouble the last time, my 6th challenge, when
he got in trouble?
He was out there by himself. Both of his partners had left. You know, the last Amazon we did.
Okay.
And it was 4 people were trying to do 60 days, and they each had 2 people that were trying to at least get to 40 and had the option to go to 60.
That's right.
And it was called Next Level.
Yep. I remember that.
XL8, I think.
That's the one where Matt got that skin eating.
No, that was his 3rd one. That was XL3.
Got it. Okay.
So this one, me and Matt and Jeff got brought in after they lost half the cast the first week.
They're like, we need our all-stars back.
And they're like, well, come in and help out. That's what I went in. I was in there to support.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the mission, was to support, not let them have the glory. I'm just going to help. I'm here to help.
That was Peru?
Yeah, it was Peru, the Amazon, my 2nd time in the Amazon. And when I got there, they gave me a bug net. And I was like, what?
They gave you a what?
A bug net, an insect net. And I'm like, we get an insect net?
It's like the fucking...
They're like, yeah, everyone's got them out there. I'm like, wow. I didn't have one for 3 weeks last time. This is looking pretty good already. And so I saw Steve in him, and he was just really... He doesn't, he would do okay on his own, but he likes to be around other people and camaraderie and all that stuff. And, man, we got linked up there, and he was in a really crap camp. The zone sucked for resources. And I told him, man, you against leaving here? Let's try and find something else in a couple of days, because if we stay here, and after a week, we're going to be really not good.
And then I imagine, like you said, if you get behind on water or food, like playing catch up.
Water wasn't an issue, but the food resources and then the shelter. I mean, Stephen had all his little bus stop. I was looking to go walk in and find him, and I saw the bug net, and I saw someone in there, and I saw it was kind of a smaller, thinner guy, and I was probably Stephen. And I was like, what's he in? It looked like a little bus stop. He had like a little jungle hooch set up. It looked like a little bus stop, like a little covering like this.
Uh-huh.
And it was all he could do. He had every material he could to make it as waterproof as possible. He had a little raised bed. And my first couple of nights, I would sleep on the ground. I don't care. I'll sleep on the ground. People are like, oh, that's against survival protocol. Yeah, okay. If you get, the snakes after a week or 10 days, they're not coming around exactly in our area. They might wander in.
Is that the reason why it's against protocol? I mean, I know like the ground will suck the heat out of you, but in the Amazon, that's not a concern.
No, creepy crawlies.
Okay.
So you want to kind of get off the ground so you're not having that initial issue. At least you got time to react. It gets wet. That'll, it floods in there when the rains come. So you want to try to get off the ground and make it the best raised bed you can. But I just got in there and we're trying to find the materials to even make a second bed, make a second shelter. And it was like, here's the plan. If it starts raining, I'm coming up in there with you. I'll sleep up underneath you under your bed and I'll be okay. We'll roll the dice for one night. But I built the bed and just had a net. And then we left and we wound up finding Waz's old camp, him and Gary's and Rod's. And looked pretty rough when we got there. I mean, they worked on something, but when we got there, it looked like people had just, we're out of here. This is hell. And so that particular challenge, I went there to help, and that's what we did. And I'm proud of getting those folks out of there, being there as a senior guy, a leader. Didn't realize I was going through some health issues at the time I was there, but later found out I had severe hypothyroidism, probably from doing these challenges and getting worn down.
I was just
malnutrition. And that was really
that's putting your body,
rough.
It's exposing your body to something that no one on planet Earth does.
No.
You know what I'm saying? Like, to just take all your clothes off and walk out into the jungle. Even the locals.
And clothing is your first layer of shelter. This is your first layer of shelter.
Dude, even a pair of Ranger panties and some fucking flip-flops would change the whole dynamic.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Be a little more comfortable. and I made some shoes. People are like, well, whose idea was it? I'm like, I'm not making clothes. Well, it was the show premise. You take away
everything.
Yeah, the laws of three.
Yeah.
You know, so shelter within 3 hours, you need to have some kind of form of shelter or security. So you feel safe. And you're operating, whether it's a spear in your hand, a base to operate out of, you know, that's morale. So you got about 3 hours to really get that established. So you take away clothing, you've just taken away my physical layer of shelter, plus my psychological layer of shelter. I'm exposed to all my, and then all my weaknesses, all whatever, you know, my emotions are exposed to you.
Vulnerable as
you
fuck,
feel
man.
vulnerable. Yep.
I can't, and I've actually put in for the show a few times, like a few years back, and I remember thinking, like, dude, just walking up butt naked to some stranger and shaking her hand, that must be the most bizarre feeling ever.
It's. I think the first one was kind of awkward, and then after that, it was just like, hey, we especially in a LARK because we both did it once, so we just rolled in, handshake, what's up, let's go. And then after that, but when I walked up, and then I was by myself on the first 40-day challenge in Colombia. I got dropped off. I was by myself for like 2 days, and so I'm out there.
And that was by design. 2 days until you link up with someone, or
until whenever. I could have been out there a week, which I was kind of excited about being by myself.
Okay,
you know, test my own skills. But I got on the ground, and within I had like 3 hours till dark. I had a shelter built, had water established, already ate some food, had barrel cactus stacked up to eat.
Living large.
Yeah, I'm sitting good. I had the pot for the water. I saw the water was coming off the delta. I knew it was good. I wasn't worried about boiling it. It was hot. I was on this black iron ore rock. It was called the Roca Diablo is where we were at. It's this huge iron ore black ancient rock. And that would reflect the heat off from the day. It would keep the heat. So I'd just lay up on that. Had the grasses all up in this little foxhole I found.
Yeah.
That was good. And then Hakeem and Jeff, they were lost in the jungle trying to find their way back out to the savannah. And I hear them busting and they're yelling. And I was up on top of the mountain yelling because I'm an military guy. I want to get to the highest point, look around and see if I can see other fires, see where other people were. But I was waiting for production to get in there so they had the big cameras because my little camera was broken. It was otherwise I'd have been up there early in the morning filming myself. But my camera wasn't working, so I had to wait for them. They got in. We're on the equator, mind you. So the sun's coming up about 4:35. They got in about 8:30 or 9, I guess, and the sun was already cooking that rock. And I made it about 2/3 of the way up, and I knew I was going to be able to walk barefoot on this rock. So I'm just trying to run back down that rock as fast as I can, yelling, "Ow! Ow! My feet! Ow!" And I'm running down there. I guess they heard me, and they thought they were like, "Oh, we sound like some dying cow or something out there." And so these two guys come out, and I'm like, "Oh, I got two dudes. Ooh, this is different." Hugs. You guys look bad. You need some water? They're like, "Oh, was this boiled?" I'm like, "No, it's good." Like, you drinking it?
Dude, the challenges where people find a water source that, like a natural spring or like that doesn't have to be boiled, that just seems like a fucking game changer.
It's a gold mine.
Yeah.
For sure. Like in Colombia, we wound up digging. Shane was digging a latrine because I'm military. Hey, 100 yards over that way.
Yeah, we're not
a lot of people around
surface
here.
shitters.
Yeah, let's dig a slit.
Landmines everywhere.
Yeah. Dig a slit trench. We can piss shit in there, whatever, cover it up with dirt. He's digging and he winds up pulling out all this clay. And he hits water. And he said, EJ, come check this out. And I'm like, damn, that looks like you found a well. You know, like he dug down his arm. He's like 6'5", so he's got a long arm, basketball arms. And so I took the pot down in there and gave it a taste. I was like, dude, this is fresh water. So what do you think? I was like, hey, let's dig a well. And so he dug a well out. We brought the other group over to show them what we had. We were willing to share with everybody because we're a group. And they were like, well, I think the expert, when we came in getting training, said there's like toxic clay. And they're like, toxic clay? What are you talking about? You know, might be some lead in there maybe, but you know, wells and clay and sediment, this is how water purifies itself. And so it was a natural artisan well we found. That was a game changer. Cold water, not hot water.
Yeah.
You're hydrating.
So if you wanted to test a water source, like, if you were to even have a mouthful of it and it's bad water, has Giardia or whatever, are you fucked? Or is there a method to how you would test a water source?
Really, what we did was Shane volunteered to drink the water. He's like, look, I'm really hurting.
Yeah.
My knee's pretty screwed. I'm not sure I'm even going to be able to walk out of here, depending on how bad the journey was.
So he's taking one for the team.
So he's taking one for the team, and he drank, took so much, waited, took so much. We did that for 3 days. Once he hit day 3, he's like, dude, I don't even have a gurgle. We're good.
Yeah.
And so that's what you should do. Not saying you should sacrifice somebody that way. Let's get some fire going, boil the water, which we were doing as well. We were still boiling water. So it wasn't like we weren't putting good water in our system. If you get a upset stomach like that out in the wild, you can crush down charcoal. You can eat that or put it in the water and just drink it that way. That'll help settle some of the nasties. If you get a case of Giardia, the biggest problem is you're going to be shitting and maybe throwing up, start running a fever, and then you're going to dehydrate yourself out and get in trouble.
Yeah.
If you can weather that 3 or 5 days, which people have in history, they've done it, and they still survive, that's what you're looking at. So I haven't had any cases of really bad bouts with water. I have a freakishly high immune system and crazy constitution. And I've drank some water that most people probably wouldn't drink. Not Mexican tap water and definitely not African poop water, because that's definitely no-go. But
you weren't in Africa on the XL, were you? With Jake Nodar and all?
No.
Okay.
No.
Because remember, a big group of those guys got sick as fuck from the fruit.
They didn't clean it. Is that what? Yeah, if you have evidence of monkeys hanging around.
Their piss and shit is on the fruit.
They're nasty, man.
So that's what got them.
Yeah. And when you haven't had a cheeseburger or something in a while, your brain's not making all the best decisions. So, you're hungry.
Bro, I mean, the closest thing that I could compare to is Ranger School, which we're still getting fed in Ranger School. Not a lot, but you're still getting fed. Yeah. And your brain is fucking thinking about food 24/7.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
You know?
Yeah.
And so I can't even imagine fucking, because there's lots of challenges where the people have no success for 21 days.
Yeah.
It's like, fuck, man.
But the laws of 3 say you can't go more than 3 days without water, 3 weeks without food.
Mm-hmm. So that's
and you get into 3 months without social interaction, you start going a little crazy. Those rules have all been either, people haven't made it to the days or they've pushed them beyond. Yeah. I mean, I used to train dehydrate all the time so that when I would get a little sip of water, like if I was doing a Ironman race or whatever, it'd be like nitro. Good. I mean, so that would help me if I got into trouble and stretched that 3-day rule. So I could stretch it out to 5 days. Just a few little sips like me and Kelly had to go through. I could still function until you're starting to speak tongues. You're getting a headache. You're like, I got to get some real water in me.
What would you think, like, leading into a challenge? Obviously, you're trying to put weight on, right?
Right.
But do you want to just show up and then, boom, now there's no food? Or do you want to wane, like maybe get your body into a state of ketosis or something before you get there?
Yeah, there's 2 different philosophies. I've seen people just fast before they went in to get ready, which, good on you. I like food, sorry. Or you put on a lot of weight, which is my main thing, because I used to be an old bodybuilder, so I know my body's going to think I'm going back into training because that's just my muscle memory. And I could toast like 1.5 pounds, 2 pounds a day. And even if I'm eating, like we are actually eating out there, there's a lot of meals that wind up on the edit floor that you don't get to see. And we are eating better than what's portrayed.
Really?
And that's just what happens. Not all cases, but
when you say better, meaning like
more fish than you're seeing, more snakes.
More
tarantulas. I killed a lot of snakes in the swamps of in Louisiana. But you might have seen only 3 or 4 on film because the mindset of the storyteller or the producer thinks, okay, you've seen them kill a snake, they're eating more snakes.
Got it.
Unless it's like some crazy kill on a snake that's good for TV, then you're not going to see all the snakes I get. And so there's a lot of keyboard warriors like, oh, he doesn't get much food. He's a terrible hunter and fisherman, blah, blah, blah. There's 9 pillars to survival. Food is just one of them. Though it's important, it's not any more important than any of the other 8,
Well, bro, and it's like, it doesn't matter what you say or what you do. People are going to be talking shit to you. I think we touched on that before we started recording. Yeah. It's like, That's just the ways of the internet, dude. Doesn't matter how well you do, someone's going to point out your flaws.
Oh, yeah.
It's like,
And I laugh.
You go out in the fucking jungle for 3 weeks.
Come on and try it, hero. I haven't seen your application yet. I work with casting. Come on out and try it. If you think you got what it takes, put your app in. We'll give you a run. But I always, when I write on social media, I'm not going to say nothing on there that I wouldn't actually say to your face.
Of course not.
I just won't do it.
It's ridiculous.
It's not my character. And these people are out there, and I'm like, you should not be saying that if you wouldn't say it to my face. Oh, I'd say that to you. I'm like,
sure, yeah.
Okay. As soon as you walked into my shadow and you froze to death.
Dude, I say it all the time because once I've grown my social media to being pretty big these days.
Yeah.
And I'll get emails there, people like, you're such a piece of shit, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, bro, I own a gym and I teach classes nightly. I'm easy to find. No one has ever shown up and said the things that you say in this email. I wonder why that is.
Right, right.
But what's fucking nuts is like, I'm in my 40s. Like, I don't want to be fighting fucking people.
No.
Like, I fight as a sport for fun and teach jujitsu.
Yeah.
I have no interest in being in conflict with people.
Yeah.
And bro, it's like
people.
That's half the people on the internet.
They don't understand they got to rest those things aside.
Yeah.
Positivity is what I try to always put out.
Of course, man.
And, you know, when you're in tough situations like that, we're out there doing these things. I get a lot of gratitude and thankfulness and joy out of the millions of people across the globe that have been inspired by my actions out there. Seeing compassion, seeing how I treat my other partners, even in the worst of times, even if people have wronged me. And if I make a mistake and I wrong you, I'm going to go find you and apologize.
And fucking
I'm going
own it. Yeah.
Clear it up. You know, I can't let stuff stew. And it's like, I love when they go, oh, I saw you on the diary cam. You're talking shit behind my back. Blah, 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 blah. I'm like, no, the diary cam is for me to express what's going on in here because the audience can't see. I have to convey that to them so they understand what I'm going through EJ's going through as a person. It has nothing to do with you. Your name may come out of my mouth, but it really doesn't have anything to do with you. It's me working through my shit.
Yeah.
Then the producers are going to connect those dots, and then I'm going to come find you before this is done and fix it.
Yeah.
That's just how I operate. But
in any of your challenges, did you find yourself alone for a long period of time?
I've got a total of 38 or 39 days alone on the show over different periods.
Yeah.
I did my fourth challenge was season 11, episode 6. I went to Bulgaria by myself for 21 days. And
what was that? I mean, that just must put a whole new dynamic of difficulty in it, huh?
To a degree, because for me, I'm going to take more risks because if I take a risk and it costs, it's only going to cost me.
Yeah.
If you and me are partners, I'm not taking certain risks because I'm responsible for you. You're responsible for me and each
we're
other.
taking care of each other.
So that's different. So the risk reward factors are different, but you got to do all the fire. You got to get all the firewood. You got to do everything.
Did you ever reach a point where like the emotional aspect of being alone started to affect you? No.
Because I'm very good at solitude with myself.
Okay.
I go out in the wild all the time, and people are like, "Why are you out there? You're out there with the squirrels." And I'm like, well, sometimes I like squirrels more than people. What can I say, man? And so I'm comfortable being by myself. I at times enjoy it because that's when me and God have some good conversations. Yeah. I work through some stuff, and it's okay. But it is better when if you're suffering. The most alone I felt, I'll tell you what it was. I got done doing 21 days in Bulgaria. They had put another team on the other side of the ridge, a man and a woman. The guy left after 2 days. The girl was suffering. I said, you know what? When I'm done here, I'll go over and help her. No one should be out here by themselves.
Yeah.
You're like, you would do that after 21 days out here? I'm like, yeah. She got a week left, 10 days left. Don't matter. I'll go. So
then you finished it out with her.
So they were kicking it around. No.
Oh, they didn't let you?
She wasn't. She was like, look, I need somebody now. So they brought another guy in, and then like 2 days later, she was gone. And then the next day or two, he was gone. So 4 people went in Bulgaria. I was the only one to come out of it.
Dang.
So I'm sitting in the hotel room, and they're bringing me all this food, like a plate big as this table full of meat. And I'm like, whoa. And they're like, okay, the crew's like, we're taking off. I'm like, oh, where are you guys going? Oh, we're going out of town. We're going to get some food. You diary cam all this and enjoy your meal. And make sure you talk about everything and how you feel and blah, blah, blah. Can you bring me back a pepperoni pizza at least? They're like, yeah, we'll bring you back a pizza. And they closed that door, and it sounded like I was in jail.
Oh, shit.
It echoed like a church bell in my head. And I'm sitting here to celebrate my victory by myself.
Dang.
And I was like, yeah, this sucks. At least when I'm with my partners, we always had something to talk about. Yeah. We knew how we suffered together. We had joy. We had sad together. So that wasn't cool. And then I wound up 2 weeks alone in the swamps, which I was enjoying the peace and quiet.
That was Louisiana?
Yep.
Okay. Yep.
And on day 27 when I speared my testicle.
Yeah, I remember that. I was just going to say the challenge where you ripped your scrotum open. Yeah. and they sewed it up without anesthesia, right? Yeah,
sewed it right up.
That's fucking gnarly, bro.
Yeah, sew it up. Let's go.
Yeah, because I mean, I told you, like, I enjoy the show alone too. I don't know if you can even speak about them.
No, I can.
Are they like your guys' rival or whatever?
No. I got a bunch of friends from those challenges, and it's different.
But one thing that's always fascinating about that is like, and obviously they're given way more access to tools and equipment stuff. They get to bring 10 items.
Yeah.
But the solitude of that, watching the mental decline, is actually the most fascinating aspect of that show to me.
Yeah, and I always say this: when you have demons and you show up out in a situation like that by yourself or with a partner, your demons are going to show up around the campfire, and then you got to deal with it, or you and your partner got to deal with them. So people that go out there by themselves should understand that this thing right here, this camera, that's the audience. That's who I'm talking to. That keeps me clicked into society. It keeps my brain correct. And if
you're actually interacting with an entity, it feels like.
Like you're Wilson.
Yeah.
You know, Tom Hanks, that's my Wilson. Mm-hmm. And so that's how I deal with it. It's like, I'm out here. I'm a little eccentric. I like to entertain myself anyway. I sing all the time. I'll do my own dancing. It's just who I am, and I've always been this way. I'm not just a TV character. This is how I am. He'll tell you. I'm the same way I am in real life as I am on TV. Sure, try being my kids on a roller coaster, but this guy, no, let's go. So when you hit alone, I was season 3, I think it was, or 4. They were season 3. I was talking with the casting. I'm like, I like to try this thing. And they're like, well, okay, yeah, we really like you, EJ. We think you'd be great. And so history's like, we don't want to cross. The show's over.
Are they all owned? Is Discovery and History technically the same, or they're different?
Different ownership. So what it was even though I was good enough for History to look at for a host or Mountain Men or these other shows, they didn't want Naked Afraid and Alone crossing over.
I see.
And
that kind of makes sense, right?
A lot of Naked Afraiders have applied for Alone. And I told them, look, you get 20 common items, right? And they're like, yeah. And then everyone gets to pick 10 other tools to survive by, right? Yeah. I'll take the 20 common items like everybody else, and I'll go out with just my knife. And to make it challenging, at least, so those others have a chance, give them 20 items. And they're like, you would do that? I'm like, yeah. Have you seen what I can do with a knife and buck naked? Having some clothes, I'm already up. And they thought about it, and we'll get back to you. In like 48 hours, they're like, nah, we're not. Because I think, and this is just my opinion, History and Alone doesn't want someone from Naked Afraid coming in there and winning that challenge, which I believe we have a very good chance of doing. Mm-hmm. Right. And I can tell you, nobody from Alone has ever applied to casting, to the best of my knowledge, because I work with casting. So
I don't think I'm even through the season yet, but the new Alone that's down in
Australia?
Yeah. One of the women on there, her husband had done Naked and Afraid.
Oh, I didn't know.
And they talked about that. They talked about that dynamic a little bit. So,
but I love Alone.
Yeah,
and I'm thinking about
it's interesting.
Hopefully my investors come in here and get my company, my own personal company where I'm doing my videos for YouTube and everything. I want to go out and do Alone by myself with what they do and just document the whole thing.
How long would you want to go for, do you think?
I would go whatever the longest person's been out there.
Oh, really?
I would go past that.
I think it's like around
plus 21.
Okay.
And I mean, that's talking, but I did spear my testicles on TV and I'm still here.
Yeah.
So it's bravado. But I would go, I think it's 100 days.
I think it's 100 days. Yeah.
So
something like
I would like to do 101 or whatever, whatever it would be to go past that mark, at least with some impressive. I like 111. Let's just say that 111 days because I like 111. It's a good number. And that's what I would do.
Well, and I was going to ask you that. Are you still in the mix? Are you still going to be doing these? And it sounds like, fuck yes, you are, huh?
My daughter was getting married at the time of LOS 1, so they kept moving the end date into the fall, and it wound up hitting her wedding date. So I had to pull out of LOS 1 for that reason. don't know when we're airing this, so there may or may not be a LOS2 going on that I may or may not have been contracted for. But my mother, God bless her, developed cancer. And she was dealing with that at the time. I have to make final decisions on certain things because I've been asking for one more battle.
Okay.
Everybody in social media knows it. All the fan groups of Naked Afraid know it. I go hashtag one more battle. That's my calling. I want one more battle.
Yeah.
And
but bro, you're guys like us. Like I used to hear that in the contract world all the time.
Oh, yeah.
Like, oh, I'm going to do one more contract. I was like, yeah, sure you are.
Well, I will. And
no. I mean, you'll do it.
But
and then hashtag one more battle may surface again. That's my prediction.
But I think if there's an LOS3 or some other bigger challenge on Naked Afraid, one, I want to do it because it's different. It's new. Yeah. It's part of the series. And I just want to test myself.
What's that acronym stand for again?
Last one standing.
Last one standing.
So,
okay.
And I think I would have been out there the first time, and I'm not saying I'm the gift for better relations between keeping people together, but it seems when I show up, there's an aura, and I read spirit, and I can read people very well, and things just kind of change. It's like, oh, the Godfather's on the But I have a very good knack of keeping people's temperatures down, negotiating and talking to others and finding out, hey, what's your beef about? Why is this going on? And kind of get cooler heads to see other sides of stories. And it doesn't make me perfect. I got my own flaws, so, and I don't want to be the babysitter either. Yeah. I'm out there to compete. And if I was out there to compete, I would have the same attitude like Jeff. It's like, hey, it ain't all of us standing on top of the hill. Let's flip a coin to see who gets the money.
Yeah.
It's competition.
Yep.
And I'm going to play it clean and honorable. You do me dirty, though, you're going to wish you never opened up that door. I'm going commando on your ass. And you're going to wind yourself getting woke up with an ice bucket of water and your campfire out at night.
Dude, the weird thing about that one was like, when it was first sold, I kind of thought it was going to be like a loan. Like, hey, we're out here until you tap out.
Yeah.
And that would have been very different. It turned into more of a game with like, hey, who can build the fire the fastest and that kind of stuff. But I guess they kind of have to, right? Because fuck, man, if it was just last one to tap.
Well, I was in a development with this in the beginning, and we weren't sure which way we were going to go. And we talked about that. Everyone being in individual camps alone, by themselves. Fend for yourself, get your own water, keep yourself going, meet in the middle, do a challenge, get an extra item, whatever, and keep doing these different things. And it just morphed into what it did. I think, me personally, I felt it was half-baked. I felt the rules were half-baked. And I think they're adjusting. And I think the next version may be more palatable.
Okay.
Because it's always the first one you do is always not right.
Yeah.
You got some things right. Some things you got wrong. There's that show on Netflix called Outlast. I don't know if you've seen it.
Yep,
it's
I did see that.
Worth watching. At times it was hard to watch for me.
Bro, I'll tell you.
Because if you come in my camp trashing my shit,
you're
getting dragged down to the lake, thrown in it with your ass whooped.
So it's funny. I actually have a buddy that was on that.
Was he? Okay, cool.
His name's Justin.
Justin.
So he's a black belt in jiu-jitsu.
Yep.
And he's attended one of my courses that I taught down in New Orleans. That's how we connected. And Justin's super fucking cool guy.
Yeah.
And then on that show, like, it just felt, and I haven't talked to him about this, but I was like, that ain't Justin.
Right.
So now what's going on here? It felt kind of scripted at times,
Yeah.
And as soon as you take a survival show and you add a script to it, it just kind of taints it,
Or like they're trying to get something out of you and the producers are trying too hard to
or
like a story.
What was that show where they were racing in Alaska?
Oh, Ultimate Survival Alaska.
And
I was supposed to do season 3 on that one, I think.
And that one started to feel scripted at times too. Yeah. And I was like, dude, just let people do the challenge. You know, fuck.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I don't know, man. I feel like when I watch these shows, I like to learn about survival.
Right.
And then I like to watch the psychological effects on people.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people love drama. And so they want, and that's what we were talking about, like before we started recording. I feel like there are times where Discovery purposely partners people up that will be in conflict, but it seems like that's happening less and less now.
You do a personality check with people, but I think they can look at, some of that just to see if there would be a conflict and how you deal with it. But the drama's going to happen. You got people hungry. people are trying to go for the glory. They want the big kill. Get out of my way. You know, it's like, okay, I got to deal with all this today. Great. All right.
Or you get people that are like, they're in the back of the truck and they're like, I have an unbreakable will. There's no quit in me.
Yeah.
And like talking themselves up like the baddest motherfucker around. And then within hours, they're like, get me out of here.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude. And that's why I always told Jenny, I was like, if I were to ever get on the show,
You ain't say shit.
I ain't going to say shit, dude.
Yeah.
I'll be in the back of that truck saying, hey, I know there's a big challenge in front of me. Let's see what happens.
I got accused of someone say, oh, he was yelling. I hate him because he's yelling. He says, you go make Mother Nature my bitch. I'm like, no, ego left at the door. You never heard EJ Snyder ever say that. Do I yell at the sky? Do I do some of that? Yes, because that's just how I deal with pressure cooker. But
if you
confuse me with Jeff. Jeff definitely says that. And I'm definitely not, I go in, I'm confident, I know what I got. I don't need to be beating the chest as many more. In the beginning, I had some of that ampness. I was younger.
Yeah.
I'm more wizened. This journey through Naked Afraid.
How old were you on your first challenge?
47. Yeah, 47.
Okay.
And then I was the oldest now to do it at 55. So successfully.
Yeah.
And
have you ever not completed one?
never. I've always finished.
Okay.
206 days.
And are
taps.
you the only person?
And speared ball. There's 4 of us that are over 200 days.
Because I know there's some studs like Matt and stuff,
Laura,
but like a med tap's a med tap.
Yeah,
you know,
tap's a tap. This new last one standing, now you have elimination, so you got to look at that a little differently, I think. But Laura's got 5-0 at 156. Max, I think, has about 170 days at 6-0.
Max,
my partner that came after I speared my testicles, he was from Seattle. He's the African-American kid. He's a snowboarder. Max, great kid. He got 170 days at 6-0. I'm 6-0 at 206. And then, Steven was clean record going into the last one standing. Then he got eliminated. Some people say he tapped. Some say eliminated. He was there till as long as he could be. I mean, dark was just around the corner. He didn't have the fire. Jeff's had some taps.
Fucking Steven's lost teeth and shit.
Yeah, I've had teeth damage too. Not like Steven has had, like literally, but like after effects when I came out of the show. I've lost 2 teeth on the one on the top, one on the bottom. I've had root canals. This one rotted off. It was a crown. It broke in half. I was like looking at they were fixing the crown. I looked at it. I was like, is that thing rotting? She's like, no, it's fine. She put the tooth in there. A week later, I'm eating a chocolate chip cookie. Broke right off. I had to get an implant. I broke that crown. I broke 2 other veneers. So I've had my teeth issues too, and that's what attacks me on malnutrition is my teeth.
Man, what about
And I'm using charcoal and doing all I can to clean my teeth, but.
Have they had any? I know like some people have gotten like malaria, dengue fever and shit. Has anyone been like severely fucked up from it yet?
There's a couple people out there that are still they'll have effects the rest of their lives with some of the stuff they've gone through. Okay. And it's just part of it, and it's sad. Discovery's gotten better about taking care of some of that stuff. So I mean, some people just don't let them know. You let them know, they'll you got a dental problem here. This is what happened on your watch. Help me out. But
they're afraid they're going to get med tapped for it, so they just shut up.
Yeah, they don't say nothing. I mean,
come on, you've avoided foot checks in Ranger School.
Oh yeah. You don't foot
You're
check.
like, go to the back side. Yeah. Oh, I'm already good. Thanks.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So it just depends. Like when the medics come in, I always used to throw rocks at them. Stay away from me. EJ keeps throwing rocks at us. We at least got. And then to my last one, I get the producer comes and says, "Hey EJ, how you feeling, old guy? How you feeling, big? Hey, careful, Jim. You're only a couple years younger than me, man." He's like, "Well, if you're feeling bad, we may start checking your vitals a little bit more regular than you're used to." And I'm like, "Okay, I got no problem. You guys concerned about me? I'm an iron horse. I got just as much energy, if not more, than everyone half my age here. We know that. All right. So if I'm getting checked, you're not discriminating against me for age. Everybody's getting checked." And so I would just start fucking with them. Hey, can we stop, time out for some vital checks here, guys? So I had to sit down and they're checking everybody. But my heart rate was like the second lowest of the entire group.
Oh, shit.
So it was like.
So how often are the are they interacting with you? Like, is it, I mean, part of me is like, the challenge is it with the fucking cameramen too? Do they feel like they're in it with you?
Those guys are very like, they have a certain camera dynamic. Like, if you put them on like Deadliest Catch or stuff like that, that's their adrenaline junkies. They love adventure TV. They're not going to, if you got, some of them will have to go take a job and they'll have to go film comic book men, or go sit on Big Brother. And it's just like,
and they're just like, fuck.
I could be out there in Africa watching snakes and shit run around. So those guys, you know, they're just as adrenaline junkies as us. On a 21-day, it's just a cameraman, sound guy, assistant camera, producer, support person, then locals. They try to just leave you in your bubble,
off, huh?
Come in, talk to you a little bit when they need to. They'll do their interviews. But you develop friendships. You were there 10 years. The bigger ones, it's a little bit more. Sometimes, you know, it's orchestrated to the fact getting people into the challenge and getting them out. And with a couple things in the middle, trying to merge some groups together.
Yeah. Do they have strict like, hey, here's the perimeter, or like, we want your shelter around this area? Or do they kind of give you the freedom? It
depends on the area, because there are certain restrictions based on zones you might be in, whether you're in Africa, whatever. You've got to build a boma. You got to do this, whatever. Sometimes you have those restrictions. Sometimes you can go playground, 3,800 acres, go where you want.
Okay.
They initially don't want, if it's a lot of groups are out there, they don't really want them coming together too soon, because you want to, see how things go.
Yeah, you're building a show.
Building characters, But, some places you just got to go to other resources. You can't just stay there.
Yeah.
And like they told me and Steve, you can go down the way there. And then we just happened to fall in on another old camp, which wasn't a bad camp, but everyone had polluted the area for 7 to 10 days. Animals were long out of the area.
Yeah.
So we had to walk 2 miles to get to an area where there's a good fishing hole. And then 2 miles back. Yeah. You're doing that in the jungle every day?
Yeah.
That's why, like Stephen and Amber, and God love them, they're the best fishermen and women I've seen in a lifetime. Even better than Jeff. They're good. They're natural at it. They love doing it. They have fun doing it. And they're better than me, and they help me. They fed me. So I'm good at scouting, reconning, trapping, hunting, doing that part. But I was having to travel 3 miles just to even find a lizard at times. So I'm found this oasis of a water hole.
Yeah, at some point it's a diminishing returns.
And I'm like, fish is very lean. We need red meat and fats. And I was looking at them, and I'm seeing my 2 partners just wasting away, and I can't bring in the red meat. And that's, because people say what they want. That weighs on me. I'm a former military leader. I'm responsible. That doesn't sit well with me. And I looked at him and was like, look, I got to go. I got to either go find better hunting grounds, get something in here for us, other people, or I'm out of here, because this is not good for me. I'm wasting away just as bad as you guys, and you've been here 3 weeks longer than me. And, I just looked at him and broke my heart to see how I felt responsible personally for their health. Even though we were getting fish and they were happy about it, that can only go so far, hiking 4 miles every day to bring home dinner.
Yeah.
And God bless them for every meal they brought in, though. I mean, we were slaying fish, but.
Can you live on fish indefinitely, though?
It'll keep you going. But
because it has a high fat content, or I guess some fish have a high fat content.
It's pretty lean.
Okay.
And so, if you're bringing them in, you definitely want them in better than nothing. But if you can get to an area where it wasn't conducive for us to move our camp into where that water hole was, because it was really not good back there in terms of bug activity and just the nastiness of the area in terms of the ground, the resource to build something, the danger. Yeah. Because there was a jaguar stalking in the area with me and Steven. And that was, you get bit by a snake that deep in.
Yeah, you're fucked, man.
Fer-de-lance bites you a 2 mile walk in, and you got to get to the river just to get in a boat to maybe make it to Iquitos.
Dude, I saw a guy in mountain phase of Ranger School got hit by a copperhead right above the boot. And from his groin to his toe turned almost fucking black. And I was like,
oh, shit.
Oh, because I was stationed in 2nd Battalion, and I also grew up in the Pacific Northwest.
Right.
And we have some rattlesnakes like on the other side of the mountains, but I never seen no shit like that. I was like, oh, wow, yeah. This is fucking serious.
Copperhead poison is not fun.
And even copperheads compared to the shit that you guys are around in the jungle, Like,
I mean, I was tangling with a 7-foot fer-de-lance, probably world record fer-de-lance. And I had the blow dart gun. And I'm trying to make this thing work. Do you think they might have gave me a hint that, hey, the wooden darts will keep the poison in the dart longer and not evaporate like on the metal dart? I'm thinking I'm using the metal one because that'll go in easier. So my brain, my Neanderthal brain's thinking, yeah, that's going in the thing. I got the poison on the end.
Well, what kind of poison are you putting on the darts?
The back of a dart frog has
so
this poison.
Yeah.
And it did, when I was like, I don't know, 40 feet from this fer-de-lance, and it was on the water. And I was like surprised, one, it's swimming on top of the water like a moccasin.
Yeah. Those fuckers, man.
Nail it. First try. He starts freaking out. His mouth opens up. He's got a cotton mouth, just like our water moccasin. Holy, wow, that's weird. And he gets up on this little island. So it's a little bigger than this room, maybe twice the size of this room. And it's an old bamboo island. And he's in there and he's flaking out. I'm like, okay, they said maybe, take a few minutes and he'll go in and he'll be sleepy sleep. Then I'll go in there, take his head off, we're good. This fucker just wakes up. And I'm like, he's standing up at me, and I'm like, whoa, oh. And this thing's very angry. And he's like, trying to get at me. So I'm like, I better hit him again. If I would have had the wooden darts, it would have worked way better. And I just never used a blow dart gun the first time in the Amazon hunting with it. So I hit him a second time, and he was really freaking out. And I just didn't need to go in there close and accidentally get bit by that thing. Because, again,
that's it.
I'm a 2-mile hike with my big carcass and all these camera guys trying to drag me out of there. So it eventually fell in the water and went up under the island probably to die.
Okay.
And that sucked. But it was a good meal. And sometimes you have a little bad fortune when you're out there, and you got to deal with it. And that was my last run. And that's a big reason why I want one more battle, because they made it my retirement episode. And I'm like, nobody told me I was retiring.
Like EJ's getting old.
I'm like, what? I still got more in me.
Yeah.
So,
well, but bro, isn't that the whole premise of survival is risk versus reward, right?
Yeah.
Like if you fucking go after that thing because you're starving, it could have fucking severe consequences.
Yeah. And I love camera guys and all that, but a lot of times they can
egg you on a little bit.
They can get in the way of things, like they're trying to get the right angle. They're just trying to do their job.
Yeah.
But when I'm out there being instinctive, and you tell me to hold up before I go for something, I probably gave that thing, in battle, we can't hesitate or you're dead. In this TV, and the same thing out there, your meal gets away. You hesitate, your meal gets away. So that's some things that get aggravating about survival TV and hunting and filming. But,
yeah.
So I'm always, there's a few of us that they will allow, here's your GoPro, here's your camera, you're good at self-filming, go.
Yeah.
But it takes time to develop that and develop that trust. And others are like, well, he get to do it. Okay, what you got? Oh, you did 21 days? Oh, that's cute. Okay.
So now in between shows, teaching survival is a big part of what you do now, huh?
Yeah. I teach survival. I motivationally speak. I do appearances at any kind of a trade show, whether it's a gun show, knife show, survival expo. I will be out next year, the weekend of March 17th, whatever. Obviously, it's St. Patty's Day, but I'll be in Kentucky, and we'll be putting the information out. But there's a big expo going on. We're going to have all kinds of great speakers. Creek Stewart's going to be out there, Dave Canterbury, myself. Tons of great on-the-ground people teaching not only survival skills, preparedness, but off-grid living, brain tanning, how to, beekeeping, preparedness, how to live off the grid, how to prepare crops, how to pickle, how to do ham radio, prep your vehicle for getting off the grid, that kind of stuff. And there'll be vendors with gear. There'll be, it's going to be a huge event.
Okay.
And so they can go over to preparedness, aftershockpreparedness.com. There should be some information up there on Facebook and over their website. And it'll be also up on my social medias, EJSnyder.com. You can go to my website.
Okay, I'll link all that in the show notes for people that want to check that out.
And then any of my social medias, EJ Snyder on YouTube, and then at EJ Snyder 333 for everything else, from TikTok to Instagram and Clapper. And,
you do it all, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, my buddy's
King of the 1 minute videos too.
My buddy's wife, actually, that's who connected us, and she got you those shirts.
Yep.
But she said you were teaching like I don't remember exactly how she articulated it, but kind of like a pre-Naked and Afraid type course, huh?
I do some of that. Yeah, okay. If someone's trying to get on Naked Afraid, I do one-on-one specials. So just hit me at the EJSnyder.com, put in a contact sheet, say, I'm interested in one-on-one training. It's going to cost you some, but
of course, that's your fucking livelihood.
Right, but I'm going to take you, and I've had 6 people that had no skills, just out camping and hiking, taught them over a 7-day period, and they went out and they succeeded on Naked Afraid.
What would you tell, like, for people that are listening that are probably never going to go out and do something like this, but a lot of the listeners are of a prepared mindset, capability, and that kind of stuff. Right. What is kind of your, like, down and dirty, like, as a survivalist, what do you think is kind of the most important things, or maybe a couple pieces of equipment, or where would you start at?
I would start, it's about mindset. So everything in life you've gone through develops this mindset. So it's not just about surviving life. So keeping a positive mindset, have an iron will, don't quit, no surrender attitude. Develop that mindset, and it'll get you through a lot of stuff. Just knowing that there's always one more thing you can do in any situation. Mindset's everything. Then also part of mindset is skill development. Getting the training, whether it's you're looking at videos for now, then you're going out doing it. There's no substitute for sitting next to a live instructor, getting coached and learning something. But if you can't afford that right now, or you can't get there, you got YouTube channels, you got good out there. Like on my website, I sell a lot of training videos that you can either download for streaming, either DVD or thumb drive. And it's everything from sear, building a bug out bag. It's a bunch of my friends. I help, I got their videos up on my website. I have a EJ Snyder Survival Outdoor Skills Series, which is 14.5 hours. I filmed it during COVID. It's 11 videos all put into one package, where you can buy in pieces of how to basic survival. Basically, my basic survival class right there for you. Or I have an ultimate bug-in home defense guide, which teaches you, as we learned in the pandemic, 90% of the world is just staying home, bugging in. Yeah. You got to fill your shelves. You got to defend if bad guys come to take what you got. So you need to know how to do that. The other 10%, 5% of them are bugging out to go somewhere else to bug in. And there's another 5% out there like myself and others that have the capability to go out and stay out and not worry about, having to bug in anywhere.
Yeah.
So I've got a video on that, and we're releasing a book next year. It's a guide. It's coming out in 2024.
Okay.
So,
man, that's pretty cool.
So it's about that mindset training. And then when you get tools, now the best important things to have in a basic survival kit, first your survival tool. Don't get EJ Snyder's knife because EJ Snyder's using it, looks cool. You got to get something that works for you, whether it's a 6-inch blade or whatever, and get good at using it. And when you got it mastered in this hand, go to your other hand, your off hand, in case something happens to this one.
Okay.
So you have both hands using that tool, whether it's an axe, a knife, or whatever. Then some way to start fire, a couple lighters, put them in a Ziploc bag so they stay good. Some waterproof and windproof matches. They're called storm matches. They're really good. A lot of them burn for almost 30 seconds. You can put them in the water, take it out of the water, it'll still be lit. Those are great matches to have. Put them in a waterproof container. They're waterproof, but you want to keep everything double protected. And then a magnesium or a fire steel rod, they call it.
What was that brand that you said was the most legit one you've used?
The Pure Fire Tactical Fire Starter. It's a magnesium fire starter. Those guys make the absolute best mag starter on the. You can go to Walmart and get one of them rectangles that you see they throw in Survivor and everything. And if that's what you got, that's what you got. I always say the best knife in a survival situation is the one you got.
The one you have, yeah.
So tool, fire starter, and a way to purify water. Now I do a double bottle system. It's on my YouTube channel, EJ Snyder. I carry a single wall stainless steel canteen. It comes in a Nestle cup with a little cookery thing. I can boil water in that pot. I can boil in the cup, whatever, but I've got a full system there to have a backup. My other system I use is a Grail water bottle. The Grail is a geopress system where you pull the sleeve off, you put the bad water in that sleeve, you open up the top to the other insert, and that chamber, and it's got the filter on the bottom, and that chamber is where your good water is going to be. If you go on EJSnyder.com, I trust that so well, I actually drink out of a toilet bowl with that water. But I put it in there, and I press it, and it purifies everything, and it's fast and easy. And it's got up to, I think it's 65 gallons of water you'll have with that. You save yourself over 1,600 water bottles that you buy at the store, and they're not going back into the environment. So that one travel bottle, you fill it up at the airport, you go to these countries. It's a brilliant tool to have with you. So I got 2 bottles. Once that filter runs out, I can boil water in this one. Once it cools, pour it in the other. And that way you know for sure you're going to have a good drink of water.
Yeah.
So those are top 3 survival gears you got to think about.
Nice, dude. Do you guys know Tony Cowden by chance? I actually just came from his house. He lives not too far from here.
Oh, he's doing a video game. Trying to think of Tony.
No. He's a Green Beret.
Oh, Green Beret. Okay.
And but what made me think of him is he was left-handed shooter his whole life. Left-handed his whole life.
Right.
Got blown up in an IED, nerve damage. And now he's a right-handed shooter. Oh, wow. And still shooting high-level IPSC, like Grandmaster. Like he is a stud shooter. But he had to relearn it all over again. And so it's like, to your point, you know?
Yeah, you definitely want to be able to use your primary hand and your offhand. You know, you have to be perfect with it, but when you need it, you better be able to use it.
Yeah.
And so, and then, you know, those things are very key into survival or surviving life. And, you know, we have a lot of friends here, you know, like you say, they have ranges and they're shooting and we're staying active in this. So we have our own little community here to support each other in all ways because, you know, we got a big epidemic out there, 22 a day we're losing to suicide, which is something that is big on our hearts.
It's crazy.
We got a lot of kids out there that need love and help. And
dude, I've lost more friends from suicide since the war than in the wars.
Yeah.
You know? And that's 14 deployments.
Yeah.
Like 10 years of my life was deploying to Iraq and Afghanistan. And then I would say from 2018 to 2022, because my last deployment was 2009. And it's like 10 years removed from the war. It seems like that's when guys start offing themselves. And it's like, what the fuck is about that?
They haven't figured that transition.
Yeah.
And it's not even easy. I mean, I got out after 25 years. Those first 2 years, you know, I'll be standing in the line trying to get a coffee before I had to work at McDonald's. And it's just like, I ain't got no time to wait. Who's next? I'm next.
I think the biggest problem with that is people in our community we're too proud to identify that we need a coping mechanism.
100%. Yeah.
And sometimes that could just be one of your boys and saying, hey, what's up, man? How you doing? Buddy check, man. You know, and it kind of turns into even a funny thing. Like I'll just send a text to my buddies, you know, buddy check. And be like, fuck you, man. I love you too, man. Talk to you later, bro. You know, but just finding a coping mechanism to deal with some of the stressors that you've encountered. We all handle different things differently. So just find a good coping mechanism, man.
That's what I've noticed in my life. Going back to like the tribal thing, when we're in the military, man, you have a tribe of people.
Yeah.
And for a lot of people, once they ETS, that's not a normal part of their life anymore.
Right.
They don't have people to their left and their right that they feel like are their brothers that have their back. And, you know, like I know a lot of guys that went through a lot of hard shit, and I'm sure an element of the PTS they feel is from the experiences they had overseas.
Yeah.
But I think an equal or maybe a greater amount of the PTS is coming from you lost your support group.
Yeah.
You don't feel like you have your part of your brotherhood anymore. You went from being a fucking ranger with a platoon of guys that you're willing to fight and die with to stocking shelves somewhere, and they don't feel like they have that purpose.
Yeah. And as part of the 9 pillars of survival, one of them is tribalism, because most people are just familiar with the core 4, you know, shelter, fire, water, and food. Mm-hmm. But then there's navigation. You know, navigation is not just with a compass. It's navigating obstacles, whether it's out in the wild or in life. It's communications, having a way to talk to people and be open about it, talk to each other inside that. And then, you know, first aid, health, you got to make sure all that's good, whether it's survival or in real life. And then we have a rescue plan, signal, how to get, we need help, you know, whether it's in the survival or in the real world. So I like taking all the pillars of survival and putting them into the real world when we talk about things. And lastly, it's about tribalism, you know, community, leadership, and teamwork.
For sure, man.
And you don't have that. And like, I love what Chad's done here. When I met Chad, he was, I think, in his garage doing these beard bombs and oils. Yeah. And from that, he built this entire community here that we have a place to go. And Chad, I've always we always hang out together, and to come back here to know I've got somewhere to just drop in on and just hang out. And
well, that's what I was going to say. Like, for me, I built this jiu-jitsu academy, and I tell my team all the time, jiu-jitsu isn't what this place is about. That's a catalyst that just brings us together, you know? And you walk around here and you see, I mean, I walked through here and spent 5 minutes just meeting a couple people, shaking a couple hands, but the vibe's here.
Yeah.
Like, you've created a place where people can come and be them, you know? And that's cool, man. I think that that's what's important for our communities. And it can be jiu-jitsu. It can be fucking barbershop. I mean, you started as a beard oil distributor, and now you have this cool facility, you know?
I appreciate it.
It's about letting down your hair. Chad, a few weeks ago, it might have been a month ago, he had a hypnotist come here, and there was up in there getting hypnotized and doing crazy stuff, and we were all out there laughing at each other, doing stupid things or whatever. But it's all those little pieces, you know, giving people a safe spot. We raise money for suicide awareness. Chad runs this Toys for Tot, our own little Toys for Tot here, support the Falcon Children's Home. And I mean, these guys like this in my life, having others around me. I mean, like, I inspire people, but I need
mutual
help.
inspiration,
and
for sure.
Always, him and our buddy Ricky, they're just so good work here in the community.
Did you retire out of Fort Bragg then?
Yeah.
Okay. Or wait, Camp Fort Liberty?
Fort Liberty, fix yourself. All right, bro? Yeah, no, 2019 was my 20 years in.
Okay.
Started out as a young infantry dude, went to Ranger School, did all that stuff. Went to third group and finished out my 18 series life.
Okay.
So, I did my 20 years, and then literally I was either be a contractor or start my own company, you know? And this is what I did.
Cool, man. Like, being the contractor world was cool. I did that for a while.
Yeah.
But you realize really quickly, like, maybe technically I ETS, but I didn't.
Right.
Yeah.
Same.
I'm still living the life. I'm still doing the thing. I'm still deploying all the time.
Yeah.
It's not conducive to moving on to the next phase of your life, you know? Unless that's what you want to do. Cool. But for me, I reached a point where, like, I mean, I was in Iraq on a contract when Jenny sent me an email saying she's pregnant.
Oh.
And it's like,
you're like, hey, I've been deployed for 6 months.
dude, I always say that joke, and then she's like,
that's not what happened.
Are you fucking kidding me? You're saying that in front of your friends?
I did that one, my bad. But you can see why he has that sense of humor.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're right, though, because it's like, when I got out, I was lucky to fall in on SEER, because it was survival stuff that I like doing.
Right.
It was a little bit of acting out there, and I'm instructing, which I love instructing. So that was like my perfect world. And for me,
did you retire out of Bragg as well?
No, I retired out of Hawaii.
Okay.
And we came back here because I had that job waiting on me.
Got it.
But I had got thrown a few other contract jobs, so the carrot was dangled in front of me, big money. And my daughter was just, the last deployment I went on in 2004 to 2005, she was young. She was still in high school. You know, she was not even in high school yet. She was in 5th grade. She's like, "You're not going to go away again, are you?" I'm like, no, baby. And that's what kept me here was that.
Same with me, man. Like that was my last deployment, because I realized, I mean, if I'm choosing to get married and start a family, how many of our teammates and our platoon mates did we see living these? Everybody thinks the military is a well-oiled machine. A lot of guys are fucking dysfunctional, as you can imagine, alcoholics, like. A lot of like just domestic problems in their house and stuff. And it's because we can't live this life of being warriors and also be home raising children. Right. Those two things are not congruent.
Yeah.
So you have to make a decision, like, when it's time to put the military behind you, man, let's just put it behind us.
Yeah.
But I'll also be honest, man. I think that your military service probably prolongs your marriage as far as duration, you know, because all that time you're TDY or deployed, you don't have to deal with that household day-to-day shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think...
Now you get to know that person all over again.
Right.
Almost.
So it's kind of cool, and that's why a lot of them last, but it's also why a lot of them fail.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you just got to find a good middle ground there and stay TDY as much as possible and come back and remarry and relearn your wife, you know?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
No, it's crazy. Kind of a crazy thing to do with our youth.
Yeah.
And for me, I mean, I don't know if you guys had like lifelong aspirations of being soldiers, but I was just kind of 18-year-old kid, didn't really know what I wanted, and let's see what this is all about.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I was 19.
And 10 years later, it was like, oh, fuck, man. Like,
I was stupid, bro. I didn't know anything about anything. I was 17 and grew up in foster homes and stuff, you know what I mean? So Like when I bounced out and joined the Army, I didn't know what infantry was. I just wanted to come wrestle for the Army. That's all I wanted to do, bro.
Oh shit! Okay.
That's literally why I joined the Army. But yeah, I was dumb. I had no parents to teach me about military shit and all that. I wanted to do something bigger.
Man, that's interesting.
It's crazy, bro.
And then ended up in SF.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, dude.
No, it's funny. You see a lot of people in the special operations community that came from pretty dysfunctional backgrounds.
It's because we're all dysfunctional.
Yeah,
bro.
you know what
we
I'm
really
saying?
are.
Yeah.
And even on my way out, I stepped on my dick on the way out too, bro. And then you want to see dysfunctional, bro? That's a whole different level of dysfunctional. So, yeah, there's a lot of things, man, out there, and for all those types of people from the same cloth doing the same thing. At the end, it's pretty badass to serve with them warriors, man.
When you were getting out, did you have you said like, all right, I'm either going to contract or start a business.
Yeah.
And did you kind of land on, I'm gonna start my own business as you were getting out, or what did that process look like?
Man. So,
because I asked, because one of the biggest things that I get, and you probably get a lot of this too, is guys that are getting out that
they
feel
don't know
lost.
what to do.
Yeah.
Yep.
How did you figure out what to do? And it's like, well, fuck, how long do you got?
Yeah.
You know?
I knew I didn't want to continue that mode of life. I was kind of over it, 12 combat rotations, 5 years in combat, Purple Hearts, all the junk and jazz, right?
Yeah.
I was kind of like, all right, dude, I want to kind of raise my son now. He's a teenager. He's 13 now. And if I do that, I'm going to be away from him for 5 more years and he's out the house,
Yeah.
So I felt starting my own company was the answer. I didn't realize it was going to become this successful, to be honest with you, man. And then I just started launching more and more companies as time went on.
Okay.
So, yeah.
And you wear a lot of different hats around here, it would seem.
Yeah, I do, man. It's a little stressful, but honestly, it's how I deal with my PTS shit,
Yeah, just keeps you busy.
Yeah, it gives me a process and a requirement to do what I got to do. The same thing the military did, man.
Yeah.
Same shit. Same.
What is your beard oil company? Like, let people know who you are and where they can find you and shit like that.
So I'm
plug yourself, bro.
No, not gonna plug, right?
Yeah.
No, yeah. So my name is Chad. I am the CEO and founder of Cracking Skulls, located in Fayetteville, North Carolina. We have a phenomenal beard products, and ranging from washes and candles to oils and butters and balms. We have the number one ranked barbershop in Fayetteville. For all my bearded brethren out there, especially the guys over across the fence, still come here regularly. But either way, that's kind of what we do here in Fayetteville, North Carolina. And my biggest real guide to push is suicide awareness and kind of giving dudes a safe place to come when they're having a day when it's already up to here, bro, and they're ready just to snap and become suicidal or homicidal. Like, yo, do me a solid. Come say goodbye to me.
Yeah.
High five me, give me a handshake, say, man, I love you, bro, but it's over for me. That's all I ask, as a brother, just give me that one last conversation. So it shows that I did all I could. You know what I mean?
Bro, what's interesting about that is, again, I've lost a lot of teammates and I've walked that path where like, oh dude, I just talked to Jordan and then and then you feel like, coulda, shoulda, woulda.
Exactly.
Or what did I do to let him down?
Yeah.
And the last time one of my buddies came to me saying that he felt suicidal, I said that almost verbatim. I said, you know what, bro? At this point in my life, I don't feel like I'm the guy to talk you out of it.
Yeah.
Like your life's your life, and if it's so bad that you don't want to continue, who am I to say what to do?
Yep.
I just do me a solid and let me say goodbye to you.
Yeah. Let me squeeze your neck, bro.
Yeah, that's what I want, man. Yeah. And you know what was crazy is like that the rawness of that. Like he texted me a couple days later. He's like, "Bro, you really like just being real with me like that really made me kind of reevaluate everything." And because, dude, like we can sit here and say like, "Oh, you know what, bro? It's not worth it," or like try and give them these talking points. Yeah, but I've been there with my gun. In that place where it's like I fucking had it with everything. Yeah. And then you've also you convince yourself that the world's better off without you. Yep. Those things are fucking so toxic. Yeah, and so instead of trying to but when you're in that place, it's hard to hear those things.
You can't snap out of it.
You can't snap out of it.
That's the problem.
So instead of being like, I don't want my buddies to think like, fuck man, if I call Greg, he's gonna give me this fucking this laundry list. It's like, no, bro, you know what? Just let me give you a hug. And that's probably what's going to fucking snap them out of it more than anything. Because right now, someone cares.
Yep.
Absolutely.
So that's what it's about, man.
Bro, I literally have 2 pistols locked up behind my bar right now from 2 different guys that were going to commit suicide.
Fuck.
And they came and squeezed my neck and said goodbye. I was like, oh, how you doing it, man? You know, I'm just bullshitting with them. You know how we kind of poke at each other? Like, how you going to do it, you little pussy? You know? Like, oh, I'm going to shoot. With what? Man, you got it. That? Let me see. Thanks, bro. He's like, yo, get it back. I'm like, fight me for it.
Yeah, exactly.
Come on. And then, you know, we talk it out. And next thing you know, they're crying on my shoulder. And like, hey, man, when you're mentally stable and you're good upstairs, come back and I'll hook you up. And I'll get right back to you, bro. So,
and that's what I always say is you run into all kinds of people. You might not even know them on the street.
Yeah.
But the words you speak to that person or the actions you take with them could change or save their life.
For sure, man.
And I remember hearing the story about this kid. He was going up to the ATM and he was getting some money out and he was banging on it. He was all upset and it was finally he got his money out. And this old veteran Vietnam guy saw him and he was like, kid walked over. He's like, hey, son, how you doing? He put his hand on his shoulder. Thank you for serving. And he had his, veteran hat on and everything. He said, thank you for serving. You have a blessed day. God bless you. And thank you for doing that. You're amazing. And the kid just caught him off guard. And the kid walked to his car, and the old man went up there and was getting his stuff out, and he got his money. He turned around. Here was the kid again. He was looking at him. He's like, hey, how you doing, son? You forget something? He's like, sir, I just want to thank you. He's like, I want to give you this money to donate to whoever you wish that you could help because you just helped me. Because till you put your hand on me and said I was amazing and God bless me, I was getting ready to go buy a gun to end it all.
Dang.
Wow. And so that story's always stuck with me.
Tough.
And that's just living proof. I mean, the thing I didn't see doing something cool on Naked and Afraid, I'm thinking, yeah, I'm going out with a knife naked, I'm going to do this cool thing. The thing I never saw coming were the now millions of messages I've gotten in whatever platform, email or whatever.
Yeah. How
it's affected and changed people's lives from bad relationships, drug addiction, gambling addiction, to killing themselves and not killing themselves.
Isn't
saving
it amazing, dude?
And I am just the vessel and the messenger. I take no credit for that. That credit goes to one place, and one place only goes up to God's feet, not mine. Mm-hmm. But I am humbled to be that vessel.
No, it's pretty amazing. It's the same thing like with my podcast or with some of the social media. When you put out a message, and who the fuck am I? I'm just a guy with opinions and ideas, and I share that with the world, and you can take it or you can leave it, right?
Right.
But every once in a while you get that email that's like, hey, man, like I was in this fucking battalion, and then when I got out, me and my wife split up, and they paint a picture of this downward spiral that they're in, and they're like, but then I heard you say this. And sometimes it's one little thing that can kind of spark that fire in people again.
Yeah.
And then you get that message, so thank you. And it's like, as toxic and as gross as social media can be, it can be just as fucking beautiful on the other side of it.
Absolutely.
And it's really cool to see that, like, the communities of people that we came from are benefiting just from sitting down. Like, we're sitting down, hanging out, having a conversation for an hour and a half.
Yeah, it's bullshit.
And somebody's going to hear a piece of this and be like, they're going to feel it, and it's going to help them.
Yep.
That's what it's all about,
sure.
man.
Yeah, man.
And it's these platforms like this, you doing your thing and being real. And that's a problem with the world, that we're not being real.
Yeah.
We're too wishy-washy. We're surrounded by snowflakes. And that's my Christmas season. There's snowflakes everywhere. And it's like, hey, we do people no favors by coddling them. You do people's favors by being hard on them, because when the hard times come, they're okay.
Yeah.
If you don't push on people, it's like people think these younger generations, they're entitled. You're entitled to nothing. You have to earn. And if you can't understand that concept, what a hard day's work is, showing up, just showing up, being present, whether it's with your family, your kids, your job. It's like I watched Sylvester Stallone. He was on that Tulsa King, and he was telling his drivers, you go to college, Tyson. What, I got to go to college? I want to be like you, making easy money, blah, blah, blah. No, you go to college. It doesn't matter what you study. You show up for 4 years, and you do a project, and you present a project, and you just show that you showed up and that you can complete whatever it was you did the task. That's all college is about. Doesn't matter what you get your degree in. So that was a funny example, but it's very truthful.
It's true.
And it's like, just show up, be real, be kind to others.
Mm-hmm.
And if, you know, so many people pass people on the street, don't even give them time of day. Got so many homeless out there. Homeless veteran problems are a big problem. Yeah. And I'm working on a pilot show right now about to bring awareness to the homeless problem. Bro, not just veterans, but across the globe.
I've said in Seattle, that's the real pandemic.
Is it pretty bad out there?
Oh, man. Seattle and Portland, like the Pacific Northwest, it's all drugs. Yeah. So I was a cop out there for a while, too. Yeah. And I'm telling you, literally in Seattle as a police officer, from the time you clock in to the time you clock out, almost every call you get is connected to drugs.
What's their drug of choice? Opiates?
It's heroin and methamphetamine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Man, that's bad.
And then, like, this fentanyl crisis is a problem. The border opens a problem. And they're killing our people.
It gets to a point, and I mean, I'll put my tinfoil hat on. My listeners know, like, for a long time, you have to ask, is all these problems, is it just a level of incompetence in the government? And you have to land on, at this point, this shit's by design.
Oh, yeah.
It's not incompetence.
You don't let military age people walking through the border, mostly single age, military age men with crew cuts.
And they want our cities and our society in turmoil.
Stoned,
you know? Because these fucking, man.
Well, that's what happens when you drink blue Kool-Aid. Blue Kool-Aid, no. You gotta drink red Kool-Aid.
These fucking kids that are all addicted to all these drugs, man. They want to act like we just let them do this from a place of compassion. Right. And I'm here to tell you, they are in a living hell. Yeah. There's nothing compassionate about letting somebody fucking lay on a sidewalk in 35 degrees, like fucking shooting heroin in their arm all day.
No.
It's the opposite of that, you know? And like, I just don't think that it would be that hard to utilize our resources in a manner where we can help all these people, not only the people that are all addicted to all these drugs, but like all these fucking like low income neighborhoods, crime ridden areas. Like, instead of sending all of our money to all these other parts of the world while our own cities crumble and decay, let's fucking fix here first. Let's take care of home first.
All right, so you're in charge for a day. Step one, what are you doing?
Step one, I say this all the time because I was a cop in California too. Like, I used to work in Compton and shit, right? Yeah. The biggest thing that we need to do is give these kids a place to actually become something.
Right.
You know? Okay. A lot of the gangbangers that I used to fucking arrest, literally third, fourth generation. They're like, my great-grandfather was banging.
From tortilla flats.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. Banging and slinging dope and pimping hoes out of these same projects.
Sure.
And it's like, what if we used our tax dollars to build a trade school in Compton and teach these kids how to weld?
Well, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, give them an opportunity.
We need an introduction.
You know? Because I'll tell you this, man. A lot of people think when they hear about the gang culture that, like, these kids are just, like, fucking hopeless. Bro, they're not that different than us.
No, they're the same.
They're cut from the same cloth. And a lot of them are wicked fucking smart people, too. And, like, I've had some of the best conversations of my life with guys in the back of my car that I just arrested.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's like, I've told plenty of guys, man, if you went left where we're in here and I went left right here, we'd probably be homies.
Yeah.
You know? But here I am is you're selling drugs and I'm a police officer, but we're not that different.
Right.
And I think we need to build something inside of our societies. And we're not going to save everybody.
No.
But if you give opportunity, it's going to change the trajectory of this country. Because a lot of those kids, I'm here to tell you, they feel fucking hopeless.
Oh, I agree.
And like, it's easy for me to say, oh, just pull yourself up by your bootstraps.
That's not the way it works, bro.
Well, bro, like, I had both parents in my house. My dad had a stable income growing up. Like, I can't sit here and live the life that I lived and then tell you to pull yourself up by your bootstraps because I can't fathom what the fuck that was like.
Right.
Chad, you can. Yeah. You know, you came from that. And it's like, instead of just fucking giving these unreasonable expectations, let's build a path to help these people up. Yeah. You know? And the same thing with the addiction, man. We just fucking kick the can down the road.
Yep.
Meanwhile, you have all of these government officials getting rich and lining their own pockets with these these like addiction campaigns. We're going to fix this or we're going to fix that.
You know, my kid brother's a victim.
And they never do anything. They just allow the system to generate wealth for themselves. I mean, they call it the homeless industrial complex now. A lot of people in San Francisco and Los Angeles, they're getting wealthy off of these programs that are supposed to be helping people. And Man, you can't incentivize that. Like, as long as this problem exists, you're going to make your $300K a year. It's gross, man.
It really upsets me. I mean, like, prime example, my kid brother.
Yeah.
Addicted to drugs. Drugs is what took his life.
Fuck, man.
Cousin committed suicide, drug addiction.
Yeah.
Other cousin in and out of jail at least 3 times. She's finally getting her life back on track to a degree. But that whole addiction thing really, and they're just a prime example.
Yeah.
It wasn't like they were hurting. My family's quite poor, but my one uncle, they were doing all right. But it's just, like you said, I think they just let that blind eye do it. Well, I'm trying to start this pickle company, and the thing I'm most excited about is the 3rd tier.
Did you say pickle?
Pickles, yeah.
Okay.
I
just want to make sure I heard you.
Pickle company. So
he loves pickles.
Freedom Pickle is my friend's grandmother's secret recipe, best tasting pickle on the planet. It's already been locally tested and everything, so we know what we got. The marketing campaign's all, it's going to be really good. But the big thing is about helping the veterans. Mm-hmm. The 3rd tier is getting veterans out of the street, guys that are suicidal, that are in need, guys that are on drugs or alcohol really bad, or don't have a home, put them to work. We'll put them in the vet program. There's a vet farm right here in North Carolina. There's one in Alabama. They put them through the veteran agricultural system. So they learn everything from hydroponics, aquaponics, grown in the ground, grown above the ground, leather work, blacksmithing, all of it.
Fucking purpose.
8 weeks.
Yeah.
They come work for us for 5-10 years. When they're ready, we partner with them. Silent partner with them, 25%. We stand up their farm. They want to raise cows, corn, pigs, don't matter. We got veterans back out there, small farms, going up against the big farm guys. We're doing 2 things: giving veterans purpose again, and we're helping that feed the country.
Yeah,
the farms are in bad shape, the small farms especially.
And bro, that's it's funny again talking to Tony Cowden, who I just came from his house. He came from a farming community, and he's like, my uncle has something like 5,000 acres or something massive,
Damn.
right? And he's like, and he's 80, and he's like, this is his last season, and there's really no one. He said no one wants to pick up where he's setting down.
Where's he at?
Somewhere in North Carolina.
I'll take that farm.
All right, no, I'll talk to him, because that's what he said. He goes,
we can have a situation.
Okay.
And it could probably help out. I mean, I'm not trying to steal nobody's land. I'm just saying.
Give me your farm, bitch.
It's just make it personal. If he's going to get it, he doesn't know what to do with it.
But that's what one thing he was saying. He's like these giant, like,
don't sell it.
Yeah, these big corporate farming companies are the ones that want to pick it up.
I don't know you, bro, but don't sell it.
Yeah. Okay. I'll talk to him and see.
All right,
maybe
around here,
yeah, maybe you could fucking work something with him. That'd be cool, man. But
sure.
Well, fuck, man. It's about time to wrap this up. So,
yeah, for sure.
Already?
You guys want to give any final words or any shout outs, or when's the pickle thing go live?
Well, we're hoping our investors come through. We're always looking for other investment opportunities. This week we're supposed to be closing out some deals. That's the big holdup. We need the startup money.
Okay.
We need to get this thing off the ground.
Yeah.
We put it in front of a lot of people, even a few, not on particular Shark Tank, but Shark Tank type people. So we've gone through the gamut with it, and we're ready to get it going. So I've got probably about 9 business projects, a couple of apps that we're doing. I've got Sabo Outdoor app, fellow Ranger buddy, that I'm a part founding owner in. It's an outdoor app. It's like basically the Airbnb to the hunting, fishing, and outdoor activities world.
Okay.
SABO, Sabo Outdoors. Check it out. Download the app. What it is it connects landowners and hosts with hunters. So you want to hunt ducks in Iowa, you'll find somebody. So you sign in just like an Airbnb, sign up for it, and it's really good.
That's a pretty cool concept.
Yeah. So we're already live.
They're doing that with cars now. Like the car I drove up in here, Turo.
Turo.
It's like, fuck yeah. People can actually start to do things themselves.
Yeah.
Yep.
Instead of everything being controlled by these companies.
Yep.
And
so I got that going on. I've got another friend who Seal. He's got this dry fire app called it's a Brass app, and it's basically it goes into your phone, and you got a little cartridge. You put it in any weapon that you have, and there you go. Live firing target, real live information, right there at the convenience with your phone. So you got a whole range in front of you.
That's cool.
And it works with moving targets. And then I got a video game company that we're going to be doing virtual reality, teaching you survival with EJ Snyder and some other things. They're doing history. It's really groundbreaking stuff that has just fell on my lap. So I've got all these projects, Pinnacle Company, my own company, Skull Crusher LLC, over at EJSnyder.com. And a few others. I mean, we're cannabis company.
So you need some more projects, huh?
Yeah, I need some more. I'm not busy enough, right? So,
what are the weed laws here in North Carolina?
I'm not familiar with them.
So it's medicinal only.
Medicinal only? Okay. It's funny because living in Washington State now.
You guys are a bunch of potheads, man.
Bro, everybody's a pothead. You can walk into any corner and get like...
I've never been a fan of smoking or doing any THC related stuff. I've really never been a huge fan of consuming or partaking in it. I don't know why. Just not my thing.
I'll mail you some edibles and then you can let me know what you think.
Yeah, for me, I think because I never smoked cigarettes. I'll smoke occasional cigars with my stepdad. That's kind of our thing, but I've never been a smoker, so I think that's probably why.
What are you looking to do with the cannabis company?
Trying to get into the New York market with my same pickle company partner.
With like CBDs or like actual?
With anything and everything.
Okay.
Because it's just been approved for recreational, but they're also, there's a VA is looking for someone to take over to do the VA contract.
Yeah.
So I'm looking to try to do that part of it, but we're also not going to turn down the rec stuff either.
Yeah.
And I really... Sometimes personally, I don't judge people. If that's what you got to do to get through the day and that's your thing, okay. I know it's been proven to help medically, a lot of veterans and stuff. I find other things that motivate me more than having to go to pot myself.
Yeah.
I mean, hiking, working out, teaching survival, living life, that kind of thing. I'll suck the bone out of life before I go smoking a joint. But
I say this though, because like a lot of guys in the veterans community are struggling with alcohol.
Yeah.
And bro, I think marijuana is a better choice than alcohol. If you need a vice, you know?
My friend's working on these sport drink type things, which are THC'd and stuff like that, which I think is very interesting to me. I'm starting to look to get into that a little bit because I find that pretty interesting. And they're making drinks, like you just said, which I'm willing to maybe give that a go and see how that works.
Yeah. You ever come out to Seattle? I can get you some crazy shit. Dude.
All right.
Dude,
I'm due out in Seattle.
They have oils now that like a drop the size of a pea.
Sure, will just ruin you.
Is 100 milligrams of THC.
So here's a question: like, since you're up there, have you seen a decline in just people, like just due to overuse or overexerting their marijuana use or THC use?
I don't think so. I don't think that. Me personally, I don't think marijuana is like, it's the stepping stone.
Sure,
or it's like that, I think if you use it responsibly, it's just like anything else. It can actually benefit you. It's helped me a lot over the years when I go through bouts like bad insomnia. Yeah. And like, I'm not one of those guys that'll wake and bake and be like just stoned all day. But at the end of the night and you're smoked and you had a hard session at the gym or whatever. Eat a gummy and then it's just like
hit the pen
kind of melt into your bed. And I feel when I wake up the next morning, I feel better.
Right.
Yeah. Whereas if you have a glass of whiskey, then you wake up feeling like dog shit.
Yeah.
And so.
Yeah, but so you're saying, my bad, I didn't mean to cut you off, and that was just a question I had, but you said a drop is 100 milligrams.
You can get that. Yeah, typically an edible is 10 milligrams.
Right.
And it's like a little square of chocolate or a gummy.
And that's enough to roll a 200-pound dude over in his bed.
Dude, the reason I know this is because it happened to me on accident.
Yeah.
Where I didn't realize this oil must have been for like baking a whole fucking tray of edibles or something, right?
Whole brownie tray.
Yeah, and I just squirted a blob out and licked it, and then I was stretching because THC when you do like yoga, it almost feels like it connects you to your muscles, and you feel like you have more control over your body. And I was down in my living room just doing like the stretching routine. And then I started fucking like melting and I started losing body function. And I told Jenny, I said, there's a fucking problem. I got to get upstairs and get into my bed because if I don't soon, I don't think I'll be able to.
Right.
And then sure as shit, I got to bed and just became paralyzed and melted. And everything. I was looking out my window and the trees were coming alive and shit. And I was like, fuck, dude. And then I did the math the next day and realized, oh, I ate 100 milligrams.
Oh, that's a whole bunch, bro.
Yeah, you should never do that, you know? But I'm kind of fascinated by plant medicines.
Sure.
Like I actually went to the jungle and did an ayahuasca ceremony.
Oh, no shit.
And stuff like that.
How was that, dude?
Bro, it's wild.
How about peyote? You got peyote yet?
Not peyote, mushrooms.
Yeah.
I ate 10 grams of mushrooms one time.
Stems and caps all the way through.
Well, it was 5 grams of tea, and then the other 5 were actual just whole mushrooms.
Oh, no.
Eating the whole thing.
Oh, no.
Crazy, right? But you said something earlier that reminded me of plant medicine, and I don't remember if we were talking about isolation or what exactly what we were talking about when you mentioned this, but you said it like, if you're not good in here,
your demons will come out.
The demons will come out of the fire, right?
Yep.
That's plant medicine.
Oh yeah.
If you go to the jungle and you're dealing, because I saw it. By the time I went down there, I felt like I'd already crawled out of these holes of depression or any suicidal ideation. I was in a good mental place, and I have been for years now. And I'm actually proud to say that, you know, like it's cool to be able to put that stuff behind you. So by the time I got to the jungle to do this ceremony, I was already happy with where I was at in life.
Right.
And it didn't come with any sadness or any tears or any like, a lot of times people go to these ceremonies and it just crushes them. And they just lay on the ground convulsing, crying and throwing up. And then they wake up and they feel like it helped them. Yeah. It doesn't look like it's helping them, but they're sorting this shit out.
Yeah.
But if you've had other mechanisms in your life that have helped you sort that shit out, man, it felt empowering. Yeah. Like I enjoyed the ayahuasca ceremonies, you know?
And there's a great advantage to solitude in the wild. Disconnecting, getting rid of the cell phone. Being unplugged is like the best part, I think. For me, of being afraid was just unplugging.
And the thing is, these plant medicine cultures, they're all indigenous people.
Yeah.
And part of it is connecting to the wild. You don't want to drink ayahuasca or eat mushrooms and go sit in your living room and watch TV. You want to sit out in the forest or the jungle with a fire and actually connect to Mother Nature through. Yeah. And it's exactly what you say, man.
Touch the earth.
Touch the earth.
Touch the tree.
Yep.
Barefoot it really connects you. I walk around barefoot all the time.
Isn't it crazy that they're finding the actual science of grounding? Have you looked into that at all?
Yeah.
And have you seen this stuff?
I've seen some stuff on IG.
Like, it's pulling inflammation out of people. And they're taking scans of people's bodies to read inflammation markers. And then you go walk around barefoot for a half an hour and they re-scan your body. And the earth is pulling inflammation out of people's knees and ankles and stuff.
It brings it in. We are, each being, we're like an antenna.
Yeah.
And we're, energy. Connecting energy into the earth. Earth is a grounding place. I ground energy into trees, the earth, anything, all the time.
The hippies had it right the whole time. Yeah, we used to make fun of them, calling them tree huggers. Yeah. And it's like...
Yeah. And I do it often.
Hugging a tree is actually good for you now.
Yeah. I mean, I start my day. I try to find some time every day. Hugging a tree.
You wake up and you hug a tree.
Hug a tree. And then I do 20 minutes of prayer and deep and just silent meditation and just sitting quiet. Whatever spirit moves me to do. Yeah. Every day. And I close my day out the same way. I'll pray several times throughout the day, but those two acts and getting involved with yoga the last several years now has really changed my life in terms of my spirit connection and what it does for me to get rid of this stuff.
Yeah. Man, it's cool to see, like, when we were, I mean, I'm a little younger than you, but still, like, when we were privates. Yeah. Have you read the Book of Five Rings? Mm-mm. So it's written by the greatest Japanese samurai, Morimoto Musashi.
I have it upstairs right now.
And the whole samurai approach is like the yin and yang. And it's like, if I'm training with the sword to be able to behead, then I also need to be able to grow a garden and love and produce life on one hand if I'm going to take life on the other. And he was a proponent of...
I've been living that. I didn't even realize it.
And he's a proponent of poetry, raising flowers.
That's Ikigai, bro.
Yeah.
Like, you know what Ikigai is?
Well, I could tell by that it's everything coming together.
Yeah, how everything kind of blends together, And
I used to think back, if I was a Ranger private and everyone's going to go out to downtown Tacoma and drink and fight. Yeah. And I'm like, actually, guys, I'm going to tend to my flower garden this evening. Fuck you. Right?
I wouldn't go so well.
And so, like, the American way of, like, how we raised our warriors was all hardness, but no love and tenderness. Sure. The samurais had it figured out. There's a yin and yang, and you need that tender side to be able to be the best side on the other.
Sure. And be more passionate side. When you know what to be. Yeah. You know? And I've been doing that. I used to think it was like in movie characters, the guy's at court. He's drinking a whiskey, but then he's over here watercolor painting.
Yeah.
So I always just thought it was something like that because I've been planting. I always felt if I take from the earth, I got to give back. Mm-hmm. So I plant all kinds of plants. They tell me I can't grow this tree. I'm gonna plant it. I'm feeding the birds, the squirrels. Sure. It's like I commune with nature that way and be still in nature and magical things happen. And it makes me better on the other side.
And don't you feel like our communities are now embracing that?
Yeah.
You know,
it seems like
that's becoming normal.
You don't know how much violence it took for me to be this calm.
Yeah.
Dude, that falls right into play with this, man.
Yeah, for sure.
Like the amount of violence and things that we've encountered and incurred across our military careers, both mentally, real deal, Holyfield downrange, or even back here. Us experiencing that stuff, I think we now are able to kind of ground ourselves a little bit and see things from different angles and under different scopes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's legit, though. I 100% agree with that, and I'm going to read that book.
So,
well, I'll just say this then. Greg, it's been great having this conversation here.
Yeah, same, brother.
And Chad, thanks for being with us here on this. Man. And I appreciate Chad being here and hosting us today and you coming out and us connecting. And for me, just go to EJSnyder.com, sign up for my email list. My Facebook page is under hack right now. They stole it. They're trying to sell it.
There's always some scammer.
So if there's anybody out there that knows how that can help me, EJ Snyder, I'm the guy with the war paint. I got 217,000 followers. It got stolen back in September.
Oh,
and it's on the page. They're trying to sell it. I've went through 4 different people. I've got some meta folks trying to help me, but it doesn't seem to go anywhere. And that was one of my platforms. I went viral, boiling water in a bottle, and it went viral. And I was like so psyched, and I've been reaching so many people through my 1-minute videos. But on Instagram, TikTok, Clapper, and whatever X, it's at EJ Snyder 333. Link up with me on any of those preferred social medias that you like. Clapper is going to be when TikTok goes bye-bye.
Yeah,
if you haven't heard about it. And then for YouTube, it's EJ Snyder, and eventually Facebook again. And if you want to get some training or you just want some good information, just reach out, hit me on the contact form at EJ Snyder, and I'll get it. I will personally answer you. And hey, it's the time of giving. Go to my Cameo page and get your loved one a great EJ Snyder Naked Afraid cameo. And I will be clothed.
Unfortunately. So if I ever get the wild hair up my ass and want to do Naked and Afraid, you're the guy to call, huh?
Well, I'll get you in the right direction. Everyone this is one last quick story. Okay. Everyone thinks that they hit me up and message, hey, like these guys from India and all of them, oh, I want to be on Naked and Afraid. You get me in there. You give me a shot. I'm like, dude, I just do this thing. I do consult with the show and I work in casting, but I'm just interviewing people for their very first initial PSR to make sure they've got the goods to move on. I can't get you on. If you want to get on Naked Afraid, go to www.metalflowersmedia.com and fill out the application. Tell me what's Naked Afraid. I can't get you on. I can't even get myself back out there for one more battle.
Yeah, that's because you retired. That was your retirement fight with the snake.
I didn't even get they didn't even give me like something cool. Like, hey, here's a retirement bow on the way out.
Yeah,
and I'm like,
oh, that's hilarious. All right, man. Well, I appreciate you taking your time, and I'll be out here again one day for sure.
Yeah, man. For sure. Come on back out.